New Year from the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis, where it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Brooke Grimsley and Matthew Rocchio. I'm Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us as we start this holiday weekend. Good morning, Brooke. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing all right. Woke up with a very stuffy nose this morning. So
it happens.
It's a weather change, Randy. We went from, what was it, 60 degrees Christmas weekend, now New Year's Eve weekend. It's snowing. I enjoy the cold weather, but it's whenever you have those big shifts like that in weather, that's when I get some sort of respiratory illness. It always happens.
I do not enjoy the cold weather. If I had the choice right now, I'd rather be in the Valley of the Sun, where it's warm.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I don't like being with you and Matthew. I'd just rather be in the warm weather than the cold weather.
We should petition for that.
I think that's a good idea.
Just to have a show from there.
Some of us already have.
I mean, I think if we just put Randy out there permanently, he'd join the show. He'd tap in there, wake up at 5 a.m. or 6, depending on if it's daylight saving time or not.
You guys got a good plan for me. I like this. Okay,
we'll check in with you, and we'll have you on YouTube, and you'll just be relaxing.
Yeah.
Think about it. You could set. I guess there, depending on what time of the year it is, you could set 9:15 tea times. In your time.
Oh,
you just go 6 to 9. You could have a 9:15 tea time.
No, you're giving him too many ideas now.
You are thinking, sir.
I'm trying to keep him active for like 10, 15 years in this business. I'm thinking long term here.
There you go.
So we've talked about how the most difficult trophy in sports to win is the Stanley Cup. And over the years, people have said, oh, yeah, there's no better trophy than the Stanley Cup. I think that has been eclipsed, Brooke. I think right now that the edible Pop-Tart is the most important thing to win in sports.
Guys, I was all over this last night. I kept sending it to you over and over again. The Pop-Tarts Bowl, that was incredible. First of all, whoever was the mascot for the Pop-Tart,
it was fantastic.
He was all over it. The dancing, the energy that he provided. Oh, and by the way, Matthew, did you notice that he came out of a toaster? Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I personally like to leave as small a carbon footprint upon the univerce as I can.
No,
unlike
you just
other
don't want to
people.
toast your Pop-Tarts.
Yes, because I'm environmentally conscious, unlike others.
That's not what it is.
And it was strawberry, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, strawberry.
Strawberry Pop-Tarts in the toaster are delicious. Now, I feel sorry for the fact that the Pop-Tart mascot actually did get toasted and then ultimately devoured.
Randy, he went out doing what he loved.
Well, this is true.
He went out doing what he loved.
Yes.
Strawberry Pop-Tart, you really just stole the nation's heart with your celebration, the way that you just popped out of the toaster and the energy that you provided. I forgot that there was even a game going on because I was so distracted by your amazing dancing and energy that you provided on the field. Then you went and sacrificed your body for one of the best celebrations we have ever seen in bowl history. Thank you, Strawberry Pop-Tart.
You gave us joy.
You did. And the way that they just ate it afterwards.
It was tremendous.
I want to know if it was good. I hopefully some players will be able to weigh in on that on social media today. It looked like an actual Pop-Tart.
It did. It was fantastic. Kansas State, by the way, beat NC State. Not that it matters. In the actual game, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Kansas State wins it by a score of 28-19. It was played somewhere warm. Was it Orlando? Was it Florida? It was. It looked delicious. So that's really all that matters. The game, the site, none of that matters. Just the fact that it was
in Orlando. Yes.
Okay, good. Mizzou, by the way, I'm wearing my Mizzou hoodie, a Mizzou hoodie. Mizzou plays tonight in the Cotton Bowl down in Arlington, Texas, down in Jarrah World. And Mizzou fans evidently. Oh, what do we have?
I also provided some Mizzou colors.
Thank you
today.
very much.
It says give them hell.
I like that.
And then it's Mizzou colors. And there's a tiger.
And a tiger. So you've got the smart logo.
There you go. Randy.
What?
No.
What? Matthew at times acts like an 85-year-old man. And his infatuation with the Block M just exemplifies.
Randy, I'm going to be honest. I like the Block M too.
Oh, well, everybody wants to be Michigan. Why does everybody in Missouri want to be Michigan?
But don't you see the mind game at play here? Because how many times has Eli Drinkwitz made fun of Michigan this season and all the scandals surrounding it? And then you're going to go and use the Block M. One, classic, good look. But then also, two, playing a little mind game with OSU.
Oh, that might be. Okay. Okay, that's a good play. So he should wear the exact same cap that Jim Harbaugh wears on the sideline because the M is identical. I sent you guys pictures of the caps yesterday, and the M's are identical. So Mizzou could literally grab a Jim Harbaugh black cap rather than navy. And our friends in Michigan, the team up north, if you're a Michigan man, you get it. They do have a black cap with a Block M, just like Mizzou's.
So they just get the letter M.
Basically, well, and their official school logo.
I'm not relinquishing
Block M.
I'm not relinquishing just the whole entire letter just like that. Come on now. It's old school. Listen, I love the Circle Tiger. In fact,
so my 85-year-old men.
My favorite Tiger logo right now is actually the Sailor Tiger on the white helmet.
I do like the Sailor Tiger.
That logo so
yes,
darn
I put that on social media. Yeah,
original Truman,
or like the small, or any like full-sized version of Truman where he's like standing up and he's got like his legs like kind of crossed at the bottom and he's doing some weird like 1920s kind of thing. I'm down with any of those logos. Those all are great. I like the Block M, especially in the jersey I sent you guys in our group text, which is when it was the Block M that finished out Missouri on the basketball jersey. That's a great looking jersey.
And I think what Mizzou has done to try to appeal to teenagers, which clearly they don't need to do anymore with what they're wearing tonight. But, well, at least they're wearing a jersey that says Mizzou on it.
Well, and the colors help too, Randy.
Yeah.
I mean, the colors help.
Well, they're wearing the old
difference.
gold Block M. The ridiculous. Nobody has any association with the old gold Block M at Mizzou anymore.
But things come back in style. So teenagers now, they kind of like some of those quote-unquote vintage things. I've even seen that in my generation, Rock, you know this. Remember Ed Hardy, those shirts?
Oh, God.
Those are finding a way to come back in style.
No.
So things do come back in style, and that's what's happening here, Randy.
Okay. Well, if the Block M is coming back into style, then I hope Michigan will turn to something cool.
We're not talking about the big thing, which is Mizzou paid Nike millions of dollars to synchronize the school into one shade of gold after having 30 different ones, and they picked the wrong shade of gold. They picked yellow.
No, yellow is totally the correct shade.
Is it? Okay.
Do you want to wear do you want to have Mizzou wearing an old gold jersey?
Not old gold, but I just think there's something more. I want something a little bit less just like Bumblebee yellow and a little bit more towards the gold palette, because now when they wear, whenever they wear their gold and black jerseys, as they call them, they look like bumblebees. They're Bumblebee jerseys. They're not like gold and black Tiger jerseys.
Awesome. It's not like Bumblebee, like the throwback Steelers jerseys with the stripes. No, they're awesome.
Not that bad.
Are you worried about getting mixed up with Vanderbilt, Randy? Is that what it is, with like more of the black and gold?
Hopefully, Mizzou will never be confused with Vanderbilt, at least from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah, I think the two are very vastly different.
We had Thursday Night Football last night in the NFL. The Browns clinch a playoff spot with a 37-20 win over the hapless Jets. Joe Flacco rocks. I think the thing that NFL teams need to do is just go scout 39-year-old quarterbacks now.
Oh, so just kind of take the Cardinals approach?
Yeah.
Yeah. The very seasoned and
sage. Yes.
approach.
Yeah.
That is one of the craziest stories. And the fact, too, that you do have to give credit to the Browns. The amount of injuries that they have had this season on both sides of the ball, and they've been able to find a way to work through it. They deserve a lot of credit for that. And
ostensibly, their best offensive players in Watson and Nick Chubb, right? You lose those guys. Bitonio is still playing really well. Their offensive line overall is playing really well. But congratulations to the fans of the Cleveland Browns and fans of the Detroit Lions. Two, for many, many years, moribund franchises who are going to be playoff teams this year.
Which franchise do you think has been through the most?
Oh, man. I would say
it's tormented fan base.
It's definitely Detroit, because Detroit, this is really a difficult one. But at least Cleveland has won playoff games. But, man, you talk about torment, the drive and the fumble against the Broncos. They've been in the playoffs. They've won games, but they have been on the doorstep of the Super Bowl in Cleveland. And they lost their franchise for 3 years. But Lions fans... Man, this is tough. Lions fans have only had one playoff win since 1957, but they've been in the playoffs. Maybe I would go with the Factory of Sadness.
It's got to be the factor of sadness because I think just like there's a lot of watchable Lions football that wasn't necessarily successful, but like you said, moribund was the word I used yesterday for the Browns, and you used it there again. I mean, that is the best word for the Browns, and when they were good, they ripped their fans' freaking hearts out.
Yeah.
That's a tough question,
It
right?
really is. It's a coin flip because, man, there's no worse heartbreak than losing your team, and especially the way they lost it. During the season, they announced, we're moving to Baltimore, and obviously that fan base, which is as intense and as raucous as any fan base, they were devastated. I think I would have to go with the Browns. Yeah. Cleveland had a chance to cheer for Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson and some of those guys. I think I would go with the Factory of Sadness as the one that has been the most tormented. I hope, for God's sake, that both of them don't land in the Super Bowl together, because somebody would have to lose.
Somebody actually just texted that in. Yeah. Could you imagine?
Oh, man, it'd be awful. So, it'd be awful. So, I don't think Detroit really needs to worry about it.
Well, if Joe Flacco is going to make it to another Super Bowl, some safety has to horribly misread a ball. So the question is, who will that be?
Good question. Very good question. Other news from last night, the Pistons had a 21-point lead against the Celtics on the road. Pistons, if you aren't aware of it, had lost 27 in a row. They blew the 21-point lead and lost to the Celtics in overtime. After starting the season 2-1, the Pistons have now lost an NBA record-tying 28 in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
That can be very fun. I wonder how many people are going to those games right now. And one other college football note, as Alabama gets ready to play in the national semifinal, several players said that they aren't allowed to take their iPads home because someone at Alabama is worried about Michigan stealing their signals and their material.
Oh, that someone is Nick Saban seems to be pretty worried about that with Michigan. I don't know why you would be worried about Michigan doing anything like that. They haven't shown that.
And maybe Connor Stallions is the reason that Mizzou is going with the block cap.
What is he doing now? Because that would kind of concern me a little bit more that we don't know where Connor Stallions is. So is he working on, one, of course, his vacuum business where he refurbishes them? Remember? That was his business.
Yeah, keeps them on the porch, on the front porch.
Now he has a lot of extra free time. If I was Nick Saban, I would be concerned about how much free time Connor Stallions has.
Maybe Eli wasn't joking.
I don't think he was.
Maybe Eli did have a call coming in from Connor Stallions.
Yeah. I somewhat get it. I think you need to be very cautious in that situation. But here's the thing. Whether or not it's true that Michigan is going to that length to cheat in this situation, it's kind of funny because then Nick Saban is also kind of putting a shot out there either way of I don't trust you guys this much.
Yeah. Good for him. I like this.
No, you don't mean that for Nick Saban.
And finally, the Blues play the Avalanche tonight. That's last but not least, of course. We have the pregame for you at 6 here on 101 ESPN. The action at 7 with Chris Kerber, and hopefully the Blues will be able to win their 4th in a row. LGB.
There you go.
And Thomas.
Yes.
And Torpchenko.
And Torpchenko.
Yep.
Bobby Tommy.
Do we have Bobby Tommy? No, we don't have Bobby.
We don't have Bobby Tommy today?
No, yeah, we do.
We do have Bobby Tommy
We've
today.
got Jay Delsing at the bottom of this hour. We've got Joey V at 8:15. We've got Bobby Tommy at 8:45. And then 9:30, we're going to talk to Howard Richards about the Cotton Bowl. And, of course, he played his pro ball for the hated Cowboys. I always like to give him trouble about that.
You always find a way.
I try. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we have a tradition unlike any other. New Year's tradition, or not, next on 101 ESPN. things I enjoy about working with Brooke Grimsley is that Brooke consumes information. She just has an array of info in that head. And
It's
some
an
of it is
interesting way to describe that. Yeah.
yeah, but some of it is meaningful and some of it is kind of silly. But this is very meaningful, this particular segment.
This might be kind of silly, Randy.
Oh.
This might be the silly information that maybe should be funneled out of my brain. But I love knowing New Year's traditions that people have. And some, I understand that you might have some that you have in your family, but then there's also some cultural ones that people do around the world. So I thought, why don't we not try to figure out if Randy Carricker knows, and Matthew Rocchio, you participate as well.
He's a curmudgeon, but he'll play.
Oh, yeah, we got to get into that part
Yeah.
a little bit later on this segment.
Me,
Is this
a curmudgeon?
a real New Year's tradition or is this a fake one?
Okay,
You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We're going to start out with this one. Eating 12 grapes at the start of the year to represent the 12 months for good luck.
No way.
That's a real one. I don't know what culture it's from, but I've 100% heard that before.
You don't think it's real, Randy?
I've heard. Is that
12 grapes?
Yes.
Well, how could you stop at 12 grapes?
Well, because it's for the 12 months.
Is it an Italian thing?
It's, well, so are you saying it's real or fake?
I'm saying it's real.
I'm saying that is fake.
I've heard that before.
It is real.
Bang, let's go.
So congratulations to Matthew. That's pretty good. Okay.
It is real.
And
It's a
for me?
tradition. I've actually done it before.
You have?
Yes.
Should I do it? And do we do it on New Year's Eve or New Year's
So
Day?
as soon as you have the new day that hits right at midnight, you're already celebrating with your family. You go ahead and within that minute, some people get very technical about it. Within that minute, you're supposed to eat the 12 grapes.
It's
Okay.
oh god, I have it. I have like it's. There's a TV show that made that did like a whole thing about this. Like there's a whole episode where somebody's like, I need my grapes, as it's
It's
like New
big.
Year's, and I cannot.
I had
think of
no
what-
idea.
I don't know.
I
We
can't
did it
think
in
of
my
what
family, and
it
I'm
is.
not sure why.
Okay.
But
You
it's
know,
a tradition.
we do ice cream sundaes for New Year's Eve. I wonder if I could just do 12 maraschino cherries.
No.
Spanish. It's Spanish. That's
Oh,
okay. I could not.
yes.
I knew it was some specific culture where it like originated.
Okay, good. Okay, next one.
Eating collard greens and black-eyed peas to signify prosperity and well-being for the new year. Real or fake?
Fake.
The black-eyed pea thing sounds like something I've heard before. I'm going to go with real.
Rock is right. It's real.
No way. Okay, collard
It
greens. and
is.
black
It's
pepper.
something that is actually very traditional in the South. And that's something that we also did. My parents would always do that and would have cornbread. It's delicious.
Okay, now I got to go real on the next one.
Circling around your significant other 7 times for good luck in your relationship in the new year. Real or fake?
Yeah, right. I'm going fake on that one.
Oh, Rock is right again. That is actually a Jewish marriage tradition.
Okay, good. I got one.
No.
I just got
It
a
doesn't
text.
work.
Gloria on Modern Family had a whole thing where she was looking for her grapes
yes,
for New Year's.
yes.
After I was thinking, so there was a woman yelling, "But my grapes!" And I'm like, "That's what it's from."
Throwing salt over your shoulder to ward off bad things for the new year. Real or fake? As a New Year's tradition.
I'm going to say as a New Year's tradition, fake.
Yeah, I'm saying you're conflating that one. I'm going to go with fake.
You guys are correct. That's just a normal superstition that I've actually done a million different times. I don't know why. It's just things that get passed down. Okay.
Do you do it with a shaker or do you do it with the big old
Have you ever,
cylinder?
when you accidentally knock over salt, then you're like, oh,
Well, you wanna
I
make
got to
sure-
throw it over my shoulder.
You got to make
Yeah.
sure to check that there's no retired NHL enforcers behind you.
Oh, yeah, good point.
You gotta watch out for that. Walking around the block carrying empty suitcases for hopefully a year filled with travel.
Fake. Fake. No
Is
way
that
somebody-
real or fake?
Nobody would ever do that.
The act sounds so fake, but the explanation. Oh,
Empty suitcases.
You know what? I'm going to say
Empty.
I'm just going to give you credit if you did get me on this one because this is a well written one. I'm going to go with true.
Rock is right again.
What? Who
This
does
is
that?
actually a Colombian tradition. So right at midnight, the families will take their empty suitcases and walk around the block
So they
for a year filled of good travel.
okay. So they're doing that tonight and then going to Dallas.
Oh, there you go.
That
well,
doesn't work out very well.
No, it doesn't. You'll kind of miss some things. But if you
Yeah.
want to go have some fun in Dallas, you can.
So, but in Colombia, there's they've got traditions all over in Colombia.
Yeah. Okay. Eating lobster for wealth as a New Year's meal. Is that real or fake?
Oh, that's fake.
Yeah, lobster used to be a trash food. I'm going to go with fake.
You guys are both correct. It's actually believed in certain cultures that you shouldn't eat lobster as your New Year's meal because they move backward and you should always be moving forward.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I like
How about that little fact? Okay.
I love me a lobster. I'm a lobster fan. So.
I'm going to be honest. I prefer crab
Really?
more. I mean, I'll have lobster, of course. I think it's yummy. But if I had to choose between the two, I'm a crab girl.
Okay.
I think it's yummy, especially with the butter.
Crab is good. Crab cakes are really good.
Okay, last one, guys.
Okay. I think I'm over here. Oh, no, I got the last one right.
Yes. Wearing red, yellow, or orange underwear on the new year for good luck.
Leave. No, that's fake.
I'll go fake.
You guys are both wrong. That is a real tradition. Apparently, wearing certain type of underwear colors, red could signify love and romance, yellow, the color signifies money and wealth, orange could bring you professional success, and you could wear all of the colors. This is an actual tradition.
All of the colors at once?
Yes, you can do all the colors at once.
Orange, yellow, and red?
Yes, and there's also other ones out there as well. But after hearing all this, is there any traditions that you guys will be doing tonight? Not tonight, this weekend.
I'll do the grapes. I'll go. I'll switch
You won't do
up.
the underwear?
I would have to go out and get the underwear.
I might do the underwear. But also, we got
yellow
text here.
and orange, I just don't have.
No.
This is a good question. Can you consider a huge glass of wine as your 12 grapes?
No, it has to be the 12 individual grapes.
Does it say if they have to be green or red?
I've
kind of
always
grape?
done green. I don't
would
know if
think
there's a
green is the
certain
way to go.
because green,
Oh, what?
everything, the colors are supposed to, signify different things. So money. Oh, Randy has his green grapes ready to go
I'm
this
prepped.
weekend.
No, I don't know. They can be a little bit too tart for my
So
taste.
the traditions that I've done growing up out of these is the 12 grapes. And I know that some people even eat them underneath a table as a part of the good luck.
Like you go under the table and eat
and
it?
then eat the 12 grapes.
I've heard that was a Rick Pitino tradition.
Randy! Oh, no!
Stop it. No. Randy, no. And then also eating the collard greens and black-eyed peas with cornbread is another tradition. That's a Southern tradition that I've done
But
before.
that's not under the table.
No,
If you
no.
try to do food under the table at my house, you don't get any of the food. Not with 3 dogs running around.
Oh, that's true. That is very true. So everybody should send in what traditions they have to try out and also what your New Year's resolution is.
I haven't come up with a New Year's resolution. Can I wait a minute?
Yeah,
I'll
of
come up
course.
with one in a minute.
You don't need to come up with a New Year's resolution, Randy.
He doesn't like
keep-
resolutions.
He does not.
Well, who actually sticks to them?
A lot of
And
people
usually,
do.
and usually a
50% of the
resolution.
people.
Usually a resolution's like a diet where
Every billionaire.
yeah, sure. Usually, yeah.
Make more money
I'm gonna
next
pay
year.
my employees better this year. Nah. Just no one sticks with it. And if you want to have a goal, just why are you waiting to the new year? That's my biggest problem is that people like wait. They're like, well, I'm not going to start until January 1st. Why would I start on November 23rd? Because every day is the same. I don't know. They're like sooner's
But
better
it's a
than
whole
later.
new year. You're turning the page to a new
Has it
chapter.
ever
It
worked
just
though? Like,
signifies
has anyone
things.
ever really opened up a new chapter of their life at the new year, or does it happen randomly on a day in
Yes,
March?
I do it all the time.
Me too.
I do it every single year. I like to set goals for myself and to continue to grow. It also gives you hope for the new year. So look at him laughing at
Hope
this.
for the new year.
Oh
You've
my
been on this
gosh.
planet for 30 years, and you're still like churning that out every year.
Of course.
Okay.
So I will give you my New Year's resolution. One, I have 2 right now.
Good, I like that.
So one will be to continue to grow here with the radio show and continue to work on being a good broadcaster. It was a huge shift. And that was one of my New Year's resolutions, is to start a new career path. And that's something that I was able to accomplish this past year. And I just want to continue to grow and learn. And it's going to be so much fun learning from you and Dan even more. My second one, and this has been a huge goal and dream of mine, which I know will take a long time, so at least just getting started on it, is I've wanted to start at least a charity for young women who are looking to understand the professional world, having some women who are women-owned businesses, different things like that, that can kind of come and speak to young women in that high school age about what they need to do in getting ready for college, looking at internships, maybe even providing some clothes, because that's one of the biggest things. Randy, once you graduate college and rock as well, that you're like, oh, wait, I got to go spend a lot of money on a new business attire. And that's something that it's hard
Right.
for a lot of people to do, and they don't know where to start. So that's one of my goals, is to start with a charity with that and at least get the foundation going with it.
I think that's fantastic. I love that idea. And if I can help you with that foundation, I would be more than happy to do so. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's good. I am going to go the other direction. I know that you want to grow professionally. I actually want to take more time off and travel more and play a little bit.
So you're going to do the luggage.
Yeah, the luggage thing. And that has to happen on New Year's Eve, right? Mm-hmm. I guess I could. There's kind of a block to walk around. But that's... I actually want to do less. And here's one of the things is... And Brooke, I appreciate you having a goal for the entire year because I think that's important. But I also think that you have to take the approach sometimes of Peter LaFleur, who had life figured out.
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I got to tell you, it feels phenomenal.
So, Randy, no goals whatsoever.
You can only be disappointed.
No. So you don't disappoint yourself. Right. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just about how the movie ended for him. All worked out.
Even small goals. Taking more vacations, as you mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, going backwards. That's my goal.
Eating less fast food. That's another goal that a lot of people make for the new year.
Fast food. That's my goal for
No, Randy, not more fast food.
I want to go to Youngbrook.
Hey, look, all the time I wish I could go back to Youngbrook where I had fast food all the time. Best metabolism I've ever had. Could not even put on a bunch of extra weight. That was living, Randy.
Okay, so for all of us, a fast food that... And fast food has to include a drive-thru. Is this fair? Any other restaurants, so for example, there are Subways that have drive-thrus. So Subway is fast food. If it has a drive-thru somewhere, it's a fast food. Now, just a drive-thru doesn't make it a fast food. Mm-hmm. For example, Breadco is not fast food, right? It's not.
No, I mean, technically, no.
No. Okay, so... A fast food that you're going to
thinking so hard about that.
Yeah, a fast food that
doesn't have drive-thrus.
That you will make it a New Year's resolution to eat once in the 364 days, or is this a leap year?
No,
I don't know. 2024.
Doesn't it?
I don't know. Whatever.
366.
366. But a fast food that you will make it a point to indulge in 2024.
Oh, this is easy for me. I would say Sonic. I love Sonic, and I haven't had it in a while, but then I had it not too long ago, and I remembered why I used to love it so much, because they have a variety. They have everything.
Brooke, their breakfast burrito and their tater tots are off the charts at Sonic.
Yes,
They're
yes.
great.
And Chick-fil-A, I feel like I do frequent Chick-fil-A a lot, so I'm thinking outside of the box there a little bit.
That's fast food.
Yeah, I know. I go there too much, though. So if I'm thinking of like a new place.
You can't go there too much.
I love Chick-fil-A.
I do too. You
can't go there too much. I mean, come on. It's only open 6 days a week.
It was packed on Tuesday because it was closed on both Sunday and Monday.
People need it there.
You know what my favorite thing is whenever I go to the one in Brentwood, how many people on Sundays that I see when I go grocery shopping who go over to the Chick-fil-A to be disappointed that it's not open. It happens all the time.
It's brilliant marketing,
and I've done it before too.
Yeah. So this is hard, but for me, and I don't take advantage of it enough, but it is Taco Bell.
Ooh.
I love Taco Bell, so that's going to be my one indulgence in 2024. Matthew, give me a fast food.
Oh, God, I have to stop eating less of it.
No, give me one that you're absolutely going to have, though, in 2024.
Oh, I mean, I'm absolutely going to have McDonald's and Chick-fil-A.
Okay,
The Coca-Cola is too good.
We've got a Chick-fil-A opening a mile down the road.
Are you
here.
serious?
Wait, really?
Son of a...
Yeah, right where the Fridays used to be. Fridays torn down. Chick-fil-A right at the corner, right before Mason. It's like at Ross.
I have it.
It's great.
Chick-fil-A has one of my favorite breakfasts, too.
Oh, yeah, it's
Their
great.
Coca-Cola is ridiculously good.
Their Coca-Cola.
Everything is good.
Stupid how good it is compared to regular
They have good
Coca-Cola.
shakes, too.
And it's one of the few restaurants, I told you guys this before, having worked there, that I will actually go back to. Because having worked, and everybody knows this if you worked in the restaurant industry, there's some restaurants that you worked at that you wouldn't go back and eat at, seeing things behind the scenes. Chick-fil-A is one 100% will always go back to because of their protocols on how they clean everything. It's top notch.
My guy, Dave Bruce, over at the DePere store, great guy. He works so hard, and he's such a good pure, perfect human being, works so hard to get involved. And I know because you work there, you don't know how difficult it is to get into management positions.
Oh,
and you have to work at it. And so the people that are managing Chick-fil-A or owning Chick-fil-A restaurants, they are really authentically good people.
You have to be a really good person. I think that's actually a qualification when it comes to, and it's not like anybody can just own a Chick-fil-A. There's a whole process that you have to go through.
Yeah. That's Brooke. That's Matthew. I'm Randy. Coming up, we're going to talk some 2023, 2024 golf with our buddy Jay Delsing here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues back in action tonight at home, facing off against the Avalanche. It's going to be a 7 p.m. puck drop, which means you can catch the pregame show right here on 101 ESPN starting at 6 p.m. Also in action, it's the Cotton Bowl tonight between number 9 ranked Missouri Tigers facing off against number 7 the Ohio State University. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff for that team from Dallas, Texas. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Randy, and you'll hear Jay Delsing with Danny Mac on Sunday morning, 8 to 10 here on 101 ESPN, talking golf. And Jay joins us every Friday morning, talking sports and golf. And we welcome Jay to the Celebrity Line this morning. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I've learned so much today. I don't know whether to throw salt in my eye or how many grapes. It's pretty good stuff, man.
Is there a tradition that you like to do on New Year's Eve, Jay?
You know, Brooke, at my age, I don't even go out anymore. It's like I can't make it till midnight. I just, I got rid of my superstitions and everything. I just try to be kinder.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's a good goal. That's a New Year's resolution to have. Any of those that appeal to you? Maybe the 12 grapes or luggage?
Oh, no. I got to tell you, I've traveled so much. The luggage thing was like, oh, my gosh, can you imagine doing that? The underwear thing I thought was hysterical. You know, the color underwear had some sort of significance for something. I don't know. I thought it was really interesting, the stuff you were throwing out. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of any of those.
Hey, some people will go to great lengths for a lot of good luck in the new year. Well, as we're reflecting on everything that happened this year, Jay, I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite golf moment from this year?
Oh, man. I got a lot of on the dark side. I have to say, one of the coolest things was Michael Block making that hole-in-one with Rory McIlroy. And before we go on to that, you guys, my parents used to make my brother and I, my sisters were out of the house by then, eat pickled herring on New Year's Eve on a cracker, and it was, I could still remember the taste, and my brother-in-law are like, this cannot be good. I mean, pickled herring out of this little jar, and it was like my dad would eat like 7. My mom would choke one down. My brother and I'd be like, "This is not fun, not good, not great."
So was that like a good luck thing for the new year?
I think they thought it might be. I'm not sure. Well, you know, my parents were married for 58 years, so maybe that brought them good. I don't know. It was. That just jarred my memory when you asked me, Brooke, and I'm like, pickled herring. I mean, I don't even know what that is, but it's bad memories of it.
Yeah. Jay, it looks like we're going to get an extension of the negotiations between the PIF and the PGA Tour. What do you think, and what do you know?
I don't know anything, which is really frustrating. But I mean, the folks that I talked to we're all kind of in this same camp. No one really figured that they'd get the entire thing done by the 31st. I do know that the John Rahm thing is significant in so many ways because it shows you the amount of it shows you the temperature that His Excellency or whatever his name is with from Saudi Arabia, what he feels about you know all these other additional investors and all this other stuff that the PGA Tour has brought to the table, and it just also a thing, Randy, that I don't think there's any way moving forward in golf without them. I really don't. I think what they're going to do, if they're not included, is just continue to steal players. I don't think they give a damn about the money. I think whether it's $560 for John Rahm or $350 million or whatever it is, they'll just keep throwing. I do know what they did with Rahm was they just kept adding $50 million under the offer until he took it.
Well, the money is great. Are we going to lose the golfer that we get 5 years down the road? Are we going to lose the golfer that cares about playing in and winning majors?
Yeah, I mean, Randy, in my opinion, everything that we love about golf is on the table. I mean, if we're talking about some sort of world tour that will be created from this thing, I mean, what does it do? The majors will still hold the test of time, but where does it put the PGA Tour in terms of ranking, in terms of tours in the world, and what does all this work? What does it all look like? And I can promise you that bringing Tiger into the boardroom was really significant because he's going to draw a hard line in the sand about certain things that have to happen, and it's going to be from a historical perspective. Because if we start, I don't know, if you start adding 15 or 20 events all around the world, what does it do to the U.S. events? What does it do to the U.S. sponsors? And does it make it? It's going to absolutely make them less significant. and it'll have a ripple effect down to the history of the game. There is a lot on the table. And then the other thing, the Michael Block thing was absolutely fantastic, but I'm really disappointed that the USGA chose now to do the golf ball rollback. I mean, we are in the biggest boom we've ever experienced in a game of golf. We have more people playing golf. Burke, you're playing down at Family Golf Center at Adams Place. It's fantastic. And we're going to go ahead and make the game harder for, the average guy. It just makes no sense. It seems so tone deaf to me. I hate it.
Yeah, it is very frustrating to see this all play out, and it just feels like everything's in a weird limbo, and I'm sure that's hard for all the other golfers. Are you hearing from anything from the golfers currently who are still part of the PGA Tour about how they're feeling about this and the concern level of their future in the game?
Yeah, they're all feeling the same way. I mean, we know we have to get a deal done. We just don't know what it's going to look like, and not being in the room, I just don't know specifically what he wants. Obviously there's the overriding theme where he wants, golf in his country, and they want to make it look good like they've done for Formula One. They're doing it for soccer, and they're trying to buy tennis right now and all these other things. So we know what the overall plan is. It's just that I'm not sure what all the details look like in it. And I think that's what's really going to determine where the hell we go from here, because I mean, it came out, and Brooke, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but it came out, I think Randy and I talked about this off the air, that he wanted a membership at Augusta National and some of these seats at some really, and I'm like, wow. I mean, there's zero chance. Zero chance that's going to ever happen, especially after you go out and publicly say that. I mean, it's almost like this unwritten rule, guys. If you want to get in, you can't say anything.
You can't ask, right?
You can't ask. It's like, and it's almost like if a guy asks how much it costs, he'll never get in. And so it's really this odd thing. But that's the thing that's most pressing in my mind is what will these details look like? What do they really want? We know there's sports washing. That's been going on forever, and it's been going on with all sorts of other sports. And I did some research, you guys, and I think 26 of our 40-some-odd sponsors already do business in Saudi Arabia. And so that's kind of telling to me. So I'm really not sure how big an impact that's going to have on certain sponsors. We know some will really pull out, but I'm not sure about the masses. But I just don't know what the future of the PGA Tour looks like, because we have some studs coming out, guys. This young man that he's already won 3 events around the world. Ludwig Adberg is just, I can't wait to watch this guy play. He's 23 years old now and just got such a bright future. And I mean, Victor Hovland is still an up-and-coming guy, even though he had such a great finish this year. And we're going to get to see Tiger. So there's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to this year. But man, I don't know what it's all going to look like and how this thing is going to come about. I'm really interested in the details.
And Jay, before we get to your show on Sunday, here's the stat that players love. Last year, in 2023, this year, 49 LIV players made $100 million, and 149 PGA players made $1 million. 198 pro golfers made at least $1 million. So it's regardless of where you are, a good place to be playing golf.
I can't even. I saw those numbers a couple days ago, and I was like, man, would it be nice to be playing? I mean, just have your name on your bag right now, and you're going to get $1 million. It sounds like it's pretty. It's phenomenal. That sort of stuff is really. I don't have any trouble with it. I mean, my gosh, I was able to play for so much more money than the group that came before me. But it would really, if I had my druthers, it would really be nice to be playing somewhere now.
Oh, no doubt.
It would be great. I mean, it's, and if you think about it, back when I was playing, if you stayed in the top 125 golfers, you kept your card, you got full playing privileges, you got into basically every tournament now. But that didn't really mean you were making, a great living. You made some really nice money, and then this Tiger came along, you made some really good money. But now everybody making $1 million. I mean, so what is the guy at 150th on the money list making, Randy? He's making $900,000. I mean, it's incredible.
It's a guy named Mito Pereira. I have not heard of him until now. and he made $789,784. That's number 150 on the list. The number 100 golfer on the list for 2023, Nate Lashley, made $1.7 million.
That is unbelievable. Randy, Mito Pereira was the guy that was leading the PGA Championship down at Southern Hills and made double bogey on the last hole.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it, yeah.
I think he's from Argentina or Chile or somewhere. But anyway, he's a live player now. So, yeah, there's just so much money in the game. I mean, I can't believe this is going to come out of my mouth, but if you start looking at our ratings and things like that, I mean, when does it come in? When do you start thinking that golfers are overpaid?
Right. But you know what? In that sport, you have to succeed. You have to actually play to get paid, unlike other sports. There are no guarantees. So I would suggest that if you are able to make $1 million, you've earned it.
Yeah, no question. No question. I mean, we were talking about this the other day, and someone, it's so hard with golf because anything we kill, we eat. So what we did last year might help us with our golf bag contract, but that's peanuts compared to what we're playing for. But with the other sports, my gosh, if you can piecemeal 2 really good years together. I mean, this young man Browning, the backup quarterback for Cincinnati. Yep. I mean, how much money do you think he's going to earn next year? He's going from league minimum to probably 10 or 15 million bucks.
Yeah, once he has the ability to move to free agency, he will absolutely make a ton of money. Jay, who do you got coming up on the show on Sunday?
We got Lee Trevino, Gary McCord, Steve Flesh. We're doing some wrap-up stuff of some of the fun interviews that we've had. And
good, best of.
Some of the Incentive Charity Classics, some best of stuff. Yeah, it's really fun. And Danny Mac does such a great job of putting this stuff together. I can't wait to listen to him on with you guys. I want to see what kind of traditions he has.
Yeah, we'll find out. He's not a curmudgeon. He'll be wide open about things like that.
I know, we got to get Rock some traditions and I guess some goals and hopes for next year.
Yeah, he's not Peter LaFleur. He doesn't care about goals.
It sounds like if you just give Rock a Coca-Cola, things are going to be fine.
It's got to be a good one, though, right, Rock?
Jay has this figured out.
Get him, go to Chick-fil-A, get him the ice from Sonic, because the ice down at Sonic's really good, and put some Coke in there and everything's fine.
Isn't Sonic so good, Jay?
Jay, that's so smart.
Pretty good. Well, you got to pick up something when you're this old. You can't be down and be dumb your whole life.
You're the best. Happy New Year. Thank you so much, and we will talk next week.
Absolutely, guys. Love you. Have a happy New Year, and we'll talk next week.
You bet.
Bye.
Love you, too. Jay Delsing with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, you need to text in to the Air Comfort Service text line. That number, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN.
take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
With Brooke and Matthew, I'm Randy. It is the opening drive of on 101 ESPN. Last opening drive of 2023.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah. We're done. Yeah,
Wow.
We're done.
New
So,
Year's resolution to have more shows next
I
year.
think that's good.
Can you at least do that?
Whoa. Like, more than we are, like, already supposed to have?
Oh, yeah.
52 weeks, 5 shows a week.
Always be here.
No,
We'll go with 250.
A show in 2024, I think, is a good goal to have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes I'm just trying to get you, Rock, at least a little used to making a goal, even if it's obviously going to happen. Just the thought process of making a goal.
I have goals, but I don't start them on arbitrary days.
Oh, man.
Actually, that's not true. I would be just starting them on arbitrary days, which is like a random Tuesday. That's when my kick in the butt occurs. Random
So you
Tuesdays
can just
in
celebrate
March.
Christmas whenever you want, right?
That would be the best. I mean, presents all year.
All right. Spring training starts in roughly 6 weeks. Take it or leave it. The Cardinals will add a player to their roster, pitcher or player, by the time spring training starts.
Oh, so any player.
Any player.
Oh, I'll take that.
Okay.
I'm going to take that easily.
A relief pitcher or something like that.
I would like it to be a starting pitcher.
I would too. But I just threw it out there. I think they will add a player too, and I think it'll be a relief pitcher, and I think that's what they'll go to spring training with.
I 100% agree.
This is going to be Randy's favorite take it or leave it, sorry.
Okay, take it or leave it. I know I did this earlier, but take it or leave it. The Block M is the best logo and helmet for Mizzou football.
But leave it like a million times. It's like the worst.
It's classic.
But you've got the oval
good.
tiger, you've got the big tiger, you've got the old school Truman the tiger. It's like if there's 5 of them, it's 5th. The Block M is 5th. And the yellow Block M is better than the gold Block M.
It's because you feel like it's just too old school. You think that, what was it you said earlier, that you have to be 80 to like the Block M?
It's old timey. It's and I get it for people that loved the 1969 Orange Bowl. I get it. But we're living in 2024 almost, and let's try to pick up the pace a little bit in terms of our logos, okay?
Things come back in style.
Mm-hmm. Well, the old Truman the Tiger did, and certainly the M has never gone out of style for Michigan. If you want people to think you're Michigan, cool. I would rather have Mizzou have their own identity and not be thought of as Michigan.
I'm going to take it. I like it.
I like it too. I'm not going to take it though. I think it's second or third.
Yeah. Is that Michigan? No, it's Montana. No, it's people don't. If you're a casual college football fan, you want to have it be Mizzou.
We're trying to scare Ohio State because they just lost to them.
Even the script. Okay, I'll take the Block M over the script tigers on the side of the helmet.
I don't mind the script,
like the
tigers,
script tigers,
actually. I think it's really cool, especially whatever font that it is.
But you definitely like the Block M better.
I do. I think it just looks really nice and clean and classic.
Boring, yeah.
Looks better in a basketball jersey than a football helmet, that's all I'll say. Take it or leave it. The bowl game at Fenway Park should have brought out Ted Williams for the coin toss. Visiting captain calls heads.
Oh, totally take it. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Totally take it.
Of course we have to end the year with one of these jokes.
I was like, Randy's that's gonna be his favorite take it or leave it for the year.
I'm going to take it. Wait, of course we have to end the year with that. How many times was he mentioned probably this year? If you had to put a number on it.
The Splendid Winter? Yeah, we probably did it, once a month at least. I would say a dozen, cousin. He wouldn't be able to make it out there. He's got a head cold.
Oh, Randy, no.
Boy, that pass was a frozen rope.
Oh, no.
Take it or leave it. New Year's is depressing due to the fact that college football ends and we have to wait 4 months for baseball because I cannot watch this crooked NFL anymore.
I'm going to leave it. We've got hockey. We've got Blues, the rejuvenated Blues who play the Avalanche tonight. No, there's plenty of sports. We're fine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave it. And the XFL eventually coming soon?
Yes.
Question mark?
Yeah.
We were trying to figure that out yesterday when that official merger, because they've been talking about it, but I haven't seen anything that said it's officially happening and what exactly the changes are being made.
I believe it's going to be called the UFL, the United Football League. So USFL, XFL, so it's just going to be the UFL. Any other great ones?
Actually, this is a good one. Take it or leave it. If the Blues get 10 points in the next 8 games, we'll start to seriously consider them a playoff team.
Take it.
Ooh,
100%.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm going to take it.
If they're over 500 in that stretch, yes, I will.
Yeah, because yesterday you said 500 and the stretch is good enough. So, yeah, certainly over 500, we're taking it.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Grady.
And thank you very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. As college football moves toward a 12-game playoff next year, what should we expect from the 2024 Tigers? That's next on 101 ESPN.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. With cooler weather comes drier air. If you use portable room humidifiers, contact Air Comfort Service for a free estimate on a whole home humidifier. Prevent dry, cracked skin, nosebleeds, and static shock throughout your entire home and not in just one room. With a whole home humidifier, you don't have to rely on water tanks or changing filters. And the thermostat can automatically add the perfect amount of moisture in the air in your home. For a whole home humidifier and HVAC services, contact us at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Get the best at 100 West. 100 West Dental. No insurance? No problem. 100 West Dental has a plan when you don't for ease and affordability. Feeling nervous? Not anymore. 100 West Dental provides complete comfort during quality care. Over 350 5-star reviews agree. When you want to get your smile into winning shape, get the best at 100 West. 100 West Dental. Consult virtually with Dr. Pryor or book online at 100westdental.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
The verdict is in. STL Today is named under law 2023's best St. Louis law firm. Thank you, St. Louis, and we vow to continue our mission to not only deliver exceptional results, but to change the way companies do business and make St. Louis a safer place, one case at a time.
When you're injured, you need the best. Call Onder Law at 314 or 618-9000000.
WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. A fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
It is 8:04 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. And Mizzou getting ready to play in their biggest bowl game ever tonight when they take on Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl down in Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. If we had a 12-team playoff this year, Mizzou would be participating in the 12-team playoff. With the 12-team playoff next year, is it fair and reasonable, Brooke Grimsley, to expect that Mizzou will be back in this same spot in 2024?
I think 100%. I think that it would be a disappointment, honestly, if they weren't able to make it because of everything that they're getting back. One, they just announced an extension for Kirby Moore, their offensive coordinator, who we've talked about has been a huge asset in their growth offensively this season. And you're bringing back Blake Baker. He said recently in a press conference that he wasn't even thinking about leaving. And you also are bringing back Luther Burden. You're bringing back Brady Cook. You have Sam Horn also available still. He hasn't entered entered the transfer portal that we know of, and it doesn't seem like he will. And you're getting so much experience back. We talked to Mookie Cooper yesterday, and he just announced that he is going to return next year. I think that we're still waiting on an official announcement from Theo Weeds Jr., but it seems like he also will return next season. So you're returning your entire receiver room. Oh, and by the way, you added Courtney Crutchfield. We talked about him to that room as well. So there's so much talent they're getting back, and they're adding talent via the transfer portal defensively and offensively. I feel like it would be a disappointment if they didn't make it in the expanded playoffs that we're seeing next year.
I think that's the biggest thing, is that they've been able to enhance their offensive line because of the transfer portal. Their offense is going to be very experienced, and what they'll add up front will help. And because of what they're losing defensively, you're losing both corners, you're losing Hopper, you're losing a couple of defensive linemen, but they're adding with the transfer portal. And they, at Mizzou, are as good as anybody at using the transfer portal, I believe, because of their experience on offense and what they're going to give back, what they're going to get defensively. I think they should be in the same spot again next year. One thing we don't talk about a lot is replacing the thicker kicker. And they're going to have to be cognizant, because they had games that came down to the wire, of special teams, and especially the kicker position, because if it's not for I only call him the thicker kicker. What's his name again?
Harrison Mevis.
Harrison Mevis.
Yeah, there you go. Isn't that weird?
We've done that so many times this year, because we called him one name, but it's like, wait, what is the Dusty Springfield?
Yep.
What is his real name?
If you don't have him for K-State and Florida, Casey Blake? Dusty Blake. Yeah.
Yes.
Blake Griffin. Anyway.
Why can't I think of the hitting coach?
Remembering the names.
Why can't I think of the hitting coach? Turner Ward.
So anyway, they have to, and this is something that Eli talked about the day he was hired, was he is essentially the special teams coach. So I'm sure that part of the game will be taken care of. And I look at next year's schedule as easier than this year's schedule. I think that Mizzou has a chance, and they do play at Alabama, and we don't know, because everybody's involved in the transfer portal, we don't know how difficult next year's schedule will be, but right now, at first blush, based on the results of 2023, I think that 2024 has a chance to be even a better year.
Well, if you look at the schedule, by the time that Mizzou opens up SEC play against Vanderbilt, which, well, you got to watch out for the Commodores. That's very intimidating. They will face Murray State, Buffalo, and Boston College. Those are 4 teams that have combined for 13 wins this year, which I know that this year's team will probably be different than next year's team. But can we be honest here? I think that that's a pretty good slate for Mizzou. Now, you could look at that as a positive or a negative, right? Because you want to be able to test your group as early as possible, especially bringing so many of these guys back. Do you have any concerns with that, where you feel like, okay, because October is where that's the real meat of the schedule, where they'll have their biggest test and facing the Aggies, and then, of course, Oklahoma, which I think is a game that everybody is looking forward to.
I think the opportunity to build the defense during those first 5 games is paramount for Mizzou. Get everybody on the same page defensively. Let Blake Baker work his magic. The offense should come into next season pretty well set. They should know what they're doing. But I like the idea now of having a schedule where you can win games but not be at the top of your game. When you play in the SEC, once you start the tough part of that SEC schedule, I want my team to ascend to that 6th game of the year. They should be 5-0, and I want them to ascend to that 6th game and have their defense ready to rock and roll.
Well, and there's a lot of first and new things on the schedule, or things that they haven't done in a while, because they're going to be traveling to College Station next year, and they will be going to Bryant-Denny Stadium, which is something that they've only done, I believe, once in their history, back in 2018.
I was there for that game.
You were?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was great. But Jerry Jeudy was lined up wide right on the first play of the game, and I told Patrick that I think they were on their own 25, and I told my son Patrick, I said, they're going to score a touchdown on the first play of the game. And Tua hits Jeudy, boom, 75-yard touchdown, bing, bang, boom. Yeah, Alabama handled us pretty well. But I would anticipate, I think any rational, reasonable person would anticipate that game is going to be a loss. I don't know what Mike Elko is going to do in his first year at A&M, though. Yes. And they've lost a ton of players after the firing of Jimbo.
Yeah, and that will be the first time that Mizzou will travel there, when I'm talking about Texas A&M. since in 10 years. So those are two matchups where you haven't been able to be in that territory in a long time.
We want Bama.
You want Bama.
You don't want Bama.
Listen, after the year that the offensive line had this year, I'm no longer perpetually terrified about the trench battle with Bama. I'm not confident in it, but I'm at the point now where now you get some size on the defensive line as well with the transfer coming from Florida. I mean, I think this might be the best chance Mizzou's ever had at Bama.
I still don't want them.
I'm being a little bit cocky,
because of who's coaching them. We got a text in from the 314 that says, how big is the loss of Cody Schrader?
It's big, but they've got a Georgia State running back that ran for 1,400 yards, almost 1,400 yards is coming in. Almost the same size as Cody Schrader, by the way. And then they've got a 4-star freshman out of Texas that they've added. So while Schrader's loss is a big one, they're replacing him. You can't keep everybody forever. And I think they're replacing him with talent. We don't know if he'll be replaced with production, but all you can do is all you can do. And they're getting the best that is available to them. And I think they'll be all right.
Well, and that's the nice thing is because they're at a point where they have a lot of talent and they have talent coming in, but they also have talent available. Who would have thought if you would have said last year that Cody Schrader would be the story of the Mizzou Tigers this season? You'd be like, wait, what happened to Nathaniel Pete? What happened to, all the other running backs that you thought maybe would rise to the top in the situation? Not that they haven't been valuable this season for Mizzou, but still, the fact that Cody Schrader was this big story, you just hope that somebody will step up and be able to fulfill that role.
Right. And Jamal Roberts, freshman this year that is out of St. Louis, I believe, is also there, and they like him a lot. He went to St. Mary's, and they like Jamal Roberts a lot, too. We're going to talk to Howard Richards later on in the program, coming up at 9:30. That's today's Fresh Take. Coming up, Joey V talking some blues on 101 ESPN.
views things a little differently. Just imagine how he looks at hockey. Whoa! This is The View from Vitale, brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Blues and the Avalanche tonight. You'll hear the action here on 101 ESPN at 7 o'clock. The pregame at 6. Joe Vitale joins us now. Good morning, Joseph. I don't know if you had a chance to hear earlier. Brooke was giving us some unusual New Year's traditions that people have, like eating 12 grapes right after midnight or walking around the block with empty suitcases to perhaps presage travel for the following year. Do you have any New Year's traditions that you and or your family participate in?
Yeah, that just sounds really weird, Brooke. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it on the first take, but I'm glad. If I would have heard it on the second take, it would have been even weirder.
Joey, they're supposed to represent different things to bring you luck and prosperity for the new year. I'm surprised that you wouldn't at least give one of those a shot. What about, okay, this is another one I threw out there. Maybe this is more your speed. Wearing different color underwear that represents things for the new year.
Red, yellow, and orange underwear.
Red, yellow. Listen, guys, I'm just trying to get to lunch.
Joey's like, no way. Not doing any of that.
I wake up every day. I just tell myself, how do I get to lunch today? I don't, I'm just grateful to have clean underwear. My wife does a great job with the underwear. So that's all I know. I don't have anything specific like that, guy. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of a day-by-day guy. That's the luxury, I think, of having multiple, a big family and kids. I think that your time is sucked and the energy is sucked right out of you. With that comes the creativity it's just gone in my life, but I'm just in survival mode right now. I appreciate the people who do that.
With the 5 kids, here's one thing that we've done, and it's maintained its tradition, even though the kids are 29 and 26. We do an ice cream sundae on New Year's Eve.
Hey, I really like that. No, I really like that a lot. I think that our ice cream tradition isn't New Year's Eve. It's multiple times a week. This is one of the things I do with my kids. I'm not home all that much, and I travel a lot, obviously, with the Blues, and I miss a lot of hockey practices. And I miss a lot of sporting events. So the one ice cream tradition we do have, Randy, although not on New Year's Eve, is when practices are over and I have a chance to coach them, like I did my son Harper last night out there at Centene. It's a mandatory. It's not if we're getting ice cream, it's where we're getting ice cream. We live in Kirkwood, so there's multiple options. It's either a Clementine's, an Andy's, or one of my favorite now, Overweiss. We've been tearing up Overweiss. So we end up coming home and obviously doing the ice cream thing and getting a scoop even when it's 20 degrees outside, and that's kind of become our thing as well.
Joey, the peanut butter and chocolate Overweiss is the bomb. It's the best.
It's one of the greatest of all time. I am 1,000% with you. The cookie dough, you know what Overweiss has really good too? Believe it or not, they have like the best bacon in the world. You go into their shop there over off Manchester and Rock Hill. They have bacon. They have ice cream cake. And then here's the other thing. My wife drives me crazy on this one too. Every year I ask for the same cake. She says, I don't get it. I go, just don't worry about it. Just give me this cake. The greatest ice cream cake out there is ice cream cake. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It's the birthday cake ice cream birthday cake. That's a mouthful.
It is, but I get it.
So, yeah, they have birthday cake ice cream flavor, and they stuff it into a cake. It's birthday cake ice cream birthday cake. It is the greatest cake in all of the I think in the universe. If there's a universe out there and there's other debates on this, it would be it without a doubt. Take it out 30 minutes before you want to serve it up, and it'll change your life.
Oh, I love that. I'm 100% with you on that. Well, Joey, I guess we'll ask you some Blues stuff here, but the Blues coming off a good win against the Dallas Stars. What did you see in that game? Because right now it seems the Blues are really continuing to roll under Drew Bannister, 5-1 now under him.
Well, they've had 2 come-from-behind victories in the last 4, which is something they didn't do in the first 25 games. So I think that's one of the characteristics about this group that really stands out. Under Craig Berube, not in his whole tenure, because they had some wonderful come-from-behind chapters under Berube, but just this year it just seemed as if they went behind, they got behind, they allowed that first goal. It was inevitable. It's almost like you can just fast forward the game because it was going to be a big L. And now with Bannister, it's just been a little bit different. I think his calm approach, his little bit more stoic demeanor on the bench, I think has played well to some of the younger generation players we have here, and whether it be Thomas and Kyrou and Buchnevich and maybe a Perunovic or, let's just say a Joel Hofer, for example. So I think a lot of these younger players really are thriving under a more kind of passive coach than Craig Berube, who ended up becoming, just he's an aggressive guy, and that's what made him so great is he got the guys going, he rallied them on times, and for whatever reason this time now, it's just been one of those things where this group is coming from behind and doing it very well, and they're finding different ways to win games right now, Brooke, and that's what's great about teams that win and go the distance and win championships. It's last game, if it was Joel Hofer, the game before that, it was the second unit power play. I mean, you go to 2 games before that, it's the top line of Robert Thomas. They were the best line on the ice, as they should be. So different ways, different people picking up the slack, and, of course, finding different ways to win games is what good teams do.
As you mentioned there, it was a fantastic game for Joel Hofer, and I was listening to you in the game broadcast and the post-game show after that win against the Stars, and you had mentioned that you think we might see more of Joel Hofer here in the next few games. Do you think that will still be the case?
Yeah, I mean, I said it the other night, and I still believe it. I mean, we're going to find out here in a couple hours. I'm heading down to the rink here in about an hour. We're going to see the morning skate. We're going to see what Drew Bannister decides to do. One thing he's done is he's trusted his gut. He's had good impulses, whether it be 2 games ago when he put out the second unit, they score a power play goal. Moments later, Chicago takes another penalty. He doesn't go back with the star players. He went back with the second unit. He was asked that question at the end of the game, and the day before he said, listen, I had a gut, I had a hunch, I went with it, and it worked out. And so this is a instinctual coach. I think he's going to go a lot with his gut. He's going to trust his gut. And I think you look at the way Joel Hofer has played, not only last game, stopping 39 or 40, but go 2 games ago when he played the Florida Panthers and only allowed 1 goal, which was a fluke goal, by the way. I mean, it was a dump in off a stanchion that probably shouldn't have even gone in. So maybe it's a shutout in that game, technically. So he's been facing a lot of rubber. He's been under arrest, and I think that it's one of those things where this coach has to keep riding this high horse, because you look around the league and it seems like everyone in the Central Division just keeps winning. Everyone else is losing, and Central Division is winning. Points are very hard to come by. I mean, the Blues right now 5-1 in their last 6, but they're still kind of hanging on that playoff spot. So on the wild card with Arizona, a big win the other day against Colorado, and other teams around them, Minnesota starting to really pick up the slack. And you got to keep an eye on the Edmonton Oilers now in that wild card race, who is really starting to come. They won again last night. So plenty of teams around them are winning. Points are so valuable, especially this time of the year. And I think that you go with Joe Hofer again here tonight, continue to ride that hot horse, and then give your starting goaltender a well-deserved rest, because he was terrific throughout the month of November.
Joey V, just my opinion, but I think when the NHL schedule makers get together to put together a league schedule, one of the things that should be like the foundation, what you start with, is an off day for the Blues in Pittsburgh before they play, so that Joey V can visit his old stomping grounds. I think playing on one night and then playing back-to-back the next night in Pittsburgh is just unfair for you.
I would rather begin my Christmas in Western Canada and then have to go back out to Western Canada after Christmas if it allowed me one day off there in Pittsburgh. I agree with you, Randy. It was one of the sour spots on the schedule, and it's been a great schedule, don't get me wrong. But there are certain cities you love going back to. Pittsburgh's one. Boston, obviously, with so much of my college history there, and then the Blues winning the Team 7 Stanley Cup championship there. So much wonderful cities across the board. But with all said and done, I did have a chance to catch up with Sidney Crosby yesterday. I sent it off to the great friends over there at 101, Grant and Alex. They have it. You guys can use it at your will. A really awesome 13-minute conversation. It'll be aired tomorrow night's game, I think on the pregame show on Valley Sports Midwest. We had a nice Zoom meeting, and it was a great hot stove. We shared wonderful moments from the past, a lot of great laughs, and we got into the nitty-gritty, because you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins when they played them on Saturday. I mean, Sid and I joked to him about this. I said, you're not a spring chicken anymore. He's 36 years old, and he's still humming along and clicking along and getting his points. And he's still one of the best players in the National Hockey League. But we all see it with Alex Ovechkin. I mean, one day it just kind of the switch kind of flips, and all of a sudden you're not as relevant. Maybe you're not as good as you once were, and who knows when that's going to be for Sid. But it is inevitable at some point. So to sit down with him and really break it down and pick his brain and what makes him tick, and just a true leader and a guy that just continues to want to win. He's won it all. I asked him this question. I said, you've won it all. You've won 3 cups, world championship. You won Olympic gold, golden goal boy. I mean, you've done it all. what motivates you every day. And his simplest answer was, I still want to win. I love to win. I love to compete, and that's what drives me every day. So it's a cool little interview, and you guys can check it out tomorrow.
We will. And Brooke wasn't here when you told the Sidney Crosby superstition story. So next week, why don't we plan on you telling the Sidney Crosby because I'm sure there's a lot of listeners, too, that haven't heard it. We'll set that aside right now for next week so that you can tell that fantastic story.
Let's mark it. It's going to take about a good to tell it right. It's going to take about a good 6 to 8 minutes, Brooke. So heads up. But we're not going to get into too much hockey right off the hop there. But it's a great story, and it really is boils down not only his superstitions but his routine and how important it was for players around him to kind of facilitate that routine as well.
Joey V, love you. Have a great night tonight and a great trip and a happy 2024.
Hey, you guys as well. Happy New Year to you all. Love our conversations every Friday morning. Makes my whole week and starts my weekend off great. And we'll be talking to you guys next week.
You bet. Thank you, sir. See you later. That is the great Joe Vitale here on 101 ESPN.
And maybe he'll pick up a New Year's tradition along the way. But Joey is very busy with his family. I totally get that you have to take it day by day at that point.
And I'm telling you, have you ever had the Oberweis peanut butter and chocolate?
No. After you guys mentioned that, I took note of it.
You have to. You have to. Matthew, have you ever had it?
I can't say I have. I usually just
know if you had.
Yeah, when I go to Oberweis, I just get straight chocolate because it's that good.
I've had the clementines that he mentioned. Andy's, I love both of those. And I like Icy's Plain and Fancy.
I haven't had that. No.
It was at, remember when we went to Enterprise Center for the Blues
that was
thing?
fantastic.
Yes, it was so good.
So, okay, we got some good ice cream here in St. Louis. Coming up next, we've got the fight. Do you need a fighter, Matthew? Did I win yesterday? I don't remember.
Yes,
you hit the Jack 143.
Okay. So we've got the fight coming your way next, and if you would like to participate, text in 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo-ho!
The fight's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues have one of two games this weekend tonight facing off against the Avalanche at home at Enterprise. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop. You can catch the game right here on 101 ESPN. The pregame show starts at 6 p.m. Tomorrow on Saturday, they travel to Pittsburgh, as Joey Vitale was just talking about, to face off against the Penguins. That'll be a 6 p.m. puck drop. You'll be able to catch that pregame show right here on 101 ESPN starting at 5 p.m. And then earlier on Saturday, we will have the Peach Bowl here on 101 ESPN. Pregame show starts at 10:30. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Good morning and welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke Grimsley here alongside Randy Carricker and Matthew Rocchio, and it is time for the fight. And we kind of just threw impromptu Jason into the fight right now. Jason, I know that we have the mic right here for you. Jason, you're in the room today for a very special reason, and we kind of threw this on you of, hey, why don't you take on Randy in the fight?
Yes, but hey, I'm very excited to be a part of it. Like say, Jason Newton, and I had an opportunity to do this. I get this opportunity through the Down Syndrome Association, and my regular life, I kind of associated with that is I'm with a company called United Access, which we specialize in wheelchair accessible vehicles and equipment. But like I say, had this opportunity and looking forward to taking on Randy.
You excited, nervous? You don't seem nervous.
A little nervous. I mean, listen to Randy on a daily basis. The guy's pretty sharp.
Yeah. He's called Megamind for a reason. All right, Jason, so you ready for the fight? Ready to take on Megamind?
I am ready.
Okay, question number 1. And are you doing this with options, or you want to do it Randy style?
I'm probably going to have to do the options.
Okay, that's
just to
totally
play it
fine.
safe.
We did throw this at you. It's very nerve-wracking. So question number 1. Joe Flacco finished December with the 4th most passing yards in a single month in NFL history with 1,616. Which multiple MVP winning QB holds the record with 1,755? Is it John Elway, Peyton Manning, or Brett Favre?
I am going to go with Brett Favre for the win.
For the win.
Flacco's game last night was the first 300-yard passing game against the Jets in 33 games. Which longtime AFC East quarterback is the last to do it, throwing for over 400 in that game? Was that Josh Allen, Tom Brady, or Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I think I'm going to go with Mr. Brady.
Prior to moving over to the Boston Red Sox, which National League team did Theo Epstein work for as the director of player development? Was it the Padres, the Cubs, or the Astros?
I believe the Chicago Cubs.
And who is the only player in NFL history who's had 100-yard receiving games for 6 different teams? Is that Terrell Owens, Javon Walker, or Andre Rison?
Let's go with Terrell Owens.
Alrighty. I will tally the scores. We will bring in Randy Carricker.
All right, he's bringing in Megamind. How are you feeling after that, Jason?
Ooh, I'm sweating it a little bit.
A little bit?
I wish
Yeah.
there was more baseball questions.
I feel like we've had, you're probably like the 3rd person that has said that this week. Right, yeah. It's like you're purposely avoiding it now, Rock, aren't you?
No, my trivia, my fight question process is very organic. which is that I just start like kind of typing stuff into Google and I just kind of follow threads. And sometimes there's stuff that happens obviously in games like last night, and I have some questions from there. But yeah, I just kind of like follow threads on the internet until I find a good thing I think is a good trivia question that we haven't used, which is getting harder.
Oh, there you go. Well, Randy now is back in the room, and so is Jason. It's a special treat to have somebody actually in the room to fight. I feel like we should do this moving forward.
Yeah, let's plan on it.
Hey, I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah,
there you go. And Randy, as you know Jason,
yeah,
and so it's very
Mizzou's,
exciting
hoodies
to have him in today.
MIZ.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Randy, you ready to take on Jason in the fight?
I am ready.
Question number 1. Joe Flacco finished December with the 4th most passing yards in a single month in NFL history with 1,616. Which multiple MVP winning QB holds the record with 1,755?
I believe that would be Peyton Manning.
Randy, also setting some records last night. Joe Flacco's game was the first 300-yard passing game allowed by the Jets in 33 games. Which longtime AFC East quarterback is the last to do it, throwing for over 400 in that game?
33 games. Long-time
AFC East quarterback.
33. So that would have been during the 2021 season. So Brady would have been gone. So that would, Josh Allen would seem to be the logical choice. I will go with Josh Allen.
Prior to moving over to the Boston Red Sox, which National League team did Theo Epstein work for as the director of player development?
Padres.
And Randy, who's the only player who's had 100-yard receiving games for 6 different NFL franchises?
That means he would have had to play for 6 teams.
That too.
I will do the lifeline.
Was it Terrell Owens, Javon Walker, or Andre Rison?
Okay, I don't think Walker got to 6 teams. He was Packers, Broncos, Raiders, or Packers, Raiders, Broncos. Rison, I don't think when he played like for the Raiders and the Chiefs, I don't know if he would have had 100 yards for them. I don't even know if he had a 100-yard game for the Packers. Did definitely for the Falcons, obviously. So T.O. would be logical here if we can think of 6 teams for him. Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, Bills, Bengals. And did he have one at the end of his career? Let me just run around the league here. Seems like he had another team. That's 5 right there that I would think that he had. Let's see, Rams, Seahawks, NFC South. I don't think he made his way to the South. Falcons, Panthers, Saints, Bucks. No other East teams. But I think I'm going to go with 2 anyway. We just North. He never played for the Ravens or Steelers or Browns, Bengals. He did. Yeah, I'll just assume that maybe I should go with somebody else because I can't think of another team for 2. Niners, Cowboys, Bills, Bengals.
It took me a minute to realize why you were saying 2, and then I just got it. It took me a minute. I just got really confused. It's T.O.
Eagles. North, Vikings, no, Lions, Bears. East, West. You know what? Because I can't think of a 6th team for 2. I'm going to go with Andre Rison.
Oh my.
All right, this was a close fight, a little bit more low scoring than I expected. So, was Jason able to come into the studio and knock Randy Carricker off a win for the first time in 14 fights? Or does Randy Carricker finish out the year on one heck of a winning streak? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
You were going to be so close, Jason, but unfortunately, Randy Carricker changed that last answer, and he spiked the football a little bit, and he wins this one 3-1. so close. I thought it might be in the. Well, the crazy thing is here, you got the one correct that Randy got wrong, which always is crazy when it happens. So let's go through those questions and answers. Joe Flacco finished December with the fourth most passing yards in a single month in NFL history with 16. It was in fact Peyton Manning's 2013 December when he set the all-time record with 1,755. Flacco's game last night also the first 300-yard passing game against the Jets in 33 games. Second to last game of the season in 2021. It was a Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterbacked by Tom Brady who did throw for over 400 yards against the New York Jets defense. Prior to moving over to the Boston Red Sox, Theo Epstein was the director of player development with the San Diego Padres. Randy, do you know what team he interned with multiple times before being brought to the Padres?
I do not remember.
The Baltimore Orioles.
Okay.
And then their executive moved from Baltimore to San Diego and brought him along as his assistant. And he eventually became director of player development. And the only player who's had 100-yard receiving games for 6 different teams, the Colts, the Falcons, the Browns, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, and the Oakland Raiders. It is, in fact, Andre Bad Moon Rison, who locked up 6 different 100-yard games with 6 different teams, and a 3-1 win for Randy Carricker in the fight today.
Did 2 only play for 5 teams? Did we?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. 49ers, Eagles, Cowboys, Bengals, and Bills.
Got it. Okay.
Well, either way, thank you, Jason, because we really did just throw this on you, and you stepped up to the plate, and it's so nerve-wracking.
It was great.
Good.
Yes.
Thanks for playing.
No,
Yes.
thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Jason.
Jason, and by the way, did you tell why you're here? Good. Down Syndrome Association of Greater St. Louis does amazing work, and thank you for being a part of that trivia night that I was seeing.
Absolutely. I saw this. This was kind of like a bucket list thing for me. So chance to come on air and then a chance to meet the team. So
Great.
Yeah.
It's great. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Jason.
it. Jason with us on 101 ESPN coming up. Bobby Tommy here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Blue Center Robert Thomas, for those uninitiated. He's coming your way on 101
Bobby
ESPN.
Tommy.
inside the Blues locker room. What a goal by Robert Thomas! It's time now for Blues forward Robert Thomas on the opening drive.
Driven by Pure Performance, the only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
Brooke Grimsley, Randy Carricker with you. The Blues with a couple of games left in 2023. They'll take on the Colorado Avalanche tonight at Enterprise Center. 6 o'clock pregame here on 101 ESPN, and then the action at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow night, the Blues are at Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. That pregame at 6 and the face-off at 7. Robert Thomas, with his weekly visit with the opening drive on 101 ESPN, is with us on the celebrity line now. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Morning, guys. Doing well.
Good. First of all, Happy New Year to you. Hope 2024 treats you exceptionally well.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, Robert, obviously great wins for you guys here recently. I want to start with that Blackhawks game, scoring 5 goals in the third period, your second come-from-behind victory this season. What in the world happened in that game, and especially in the third period?
Yeah, no, really exciting game. I feel like it's been a long time since we've had one of those exciting third period comebacks, and it was a blast of a game to lead into Christmas break.
What did it feel like going into that third period that just kind of shifted the momentum?
Yeah, I think we all felt like we had so many chances to score and just couldn't seem to find a way to score, and then they you have a good chance and they just get a breakaway out of it and score a 2-on-1, and so we always felt like we were in the game, and then we got that power play goal, and then, Cappy makes a good play, get another power play goal, and then you just knew we were right in it, and just needed one to win the game.
Robert, then, like you said, you go into the Christmas break, and you're in a position now that you haven't always been in, where you can literally give people that are close to you anything they want. How's that feel? What's that like for you?
What do you mean by that?
Because of your contract and where you are now in your station in life, if somebody wants something, you can get it for them.
Yeah, it's always fun having family in town and doing some special things. I really enjoy Christmas. It's always been something that's super super special for my whole family.
Did your dad do any steaks on Christmas?
I did not, but he did cook up a storm for Christmas Day, so it was good. We had some turkey, ham, and a ton of other stuff, so it was exciting.
Love it.
Wow, that sounds like a full feast. Do you have any, we were discussing this earlier, do you have any New Year's traditions that you do? I'm sure it's pretty busy, obviously, for you guys, but is there any traditions that you might have?
Honestly, not really. I've never really gone too crazy on New Year's, so don't really have anything.
Proud of you for not going crazy on New Year's, because people do, athletes do, and it's not a great thing. It doesn't always turn out very well. So I'm glad. Hey, Robert, I know how much you have appreciated representing Canada in like World Junior competitions. I don't know how aware of this you are, but because I just became aware of it, but there's going to be an NHL international event in February of 25, and NHL players are going to play. They're going to stop the schedule, and Dom Lucian at The Athletic says that Robert Thomas should be on Canada's team. How much would that mean to you to be able to represent Canada in the biggest of international competitions?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Obviously a long way till then, and there's a lot of great players from Canada, so it'll be tough to make that team. But, growing up watching Canada, every Christmas, Boxing Day, I turn on the World Juniors, I watch Canada, I watch all the games, and, it's my favorite event to really watch. And, anytime you can play for Canada, it's pretty special and something that you look forward to.
Have you had an opportunity to see there's 7 Blues prospects playing in the World Juniors? Have you had a chance to see any and scout any for us?
Yeah, I've honestly watched I've watched all the games on Boxing Day. I've watched as many as I can. So I've seen all the guys play. Obviously, a couple of hat trick yesterday. I got to see. That was pretty cool. And Dvorsky looked good. There's a lot of promise coming from there. So it's exciting to you turn on any game and it seems like we got a Blues player or a Blues prospect in there. So that part of it's really nice.
You've talked about having a lot of mentors growing up and guys who have reached out to you and helped you throughout your career. Are you doing that with some of those young prospects as well? You're saying you're watching them. Are you texting any of them, giving them advice?
Not really. You kind of just let them enjoy the time. Junior hockey is so much fun and it's chaotic, and that's all they want to focus on. And at least I did when I was playing there. So, I haven't really reached out to any of them, but I know a lot of us are watching them.
So we talked to you about the come-from-behind win from the Blackhawks, but the Dallas Stars game was another good one for you guys, especially for Joel Hofer. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, he was great. He made some very timely saves and really stepped up, especially in the third period. They kind of started taking it to us a little bit, and he was there to answer the bell every single time. So, great game for him, and hope we can help build some confidence for him as he's a great goalie.
And Robert, you look at the schedule of the 8 games, Dallas, and then the 7 that you have ahead. 6 of those you're going to face teams that are in the top 11 in the NHL in terms of the standings. Do you look at that? I know you're a one game at a time kind of guy, but do you look at a stretch like this as an opportunity to find out what your team really is, or do you already know what your team really is?
I think we know. I think it's an exciting time. You always want to play against the best teams and really put yourself up to the test, and I think that's what we're looking forward to most. It's always you always have this one stretch in the schedule where it seems like you're playing the best teams, and you got a ton of games coming up against them. So I think that's the biggest challenge is just being ready to go, and these points are so important for us, and it'll be a good test for us, and I know we're excited for that challenge.
And now a half dozen games under Drew Bannister. Can you take us behind the curtain? What's he like as a coach? What's his demeanor, and what's he like for the players?
Yeah, he's definitely different. I think he's a lot more calm, more calculated. He's not really a scream in your face kind of guy. He's just quiet, and everything he says he backs up with video and different points. So that's kind of the way he rolls, and it's been a breath of fresh air.
Hey, go get him against Colorado tonight, and then have fun going against Crosby and the Penguins tomorrow, and have a very happy New Year, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, guys. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Robert. Robert Thomas, Blues center, with us on 101 ESPN. I went into that article. The Athletic had 3 different writers project Canada's team, and I was, because Robert, 25 years old, and he's ascending to a level where I think he's going to be one of the top 5 centers that can represent Canada by that time. I was surprised that Dom Lucian was the only one that picked him. But okay, Dom, you get 1 point from me.
There you go. Now he's getting back in your good graces. I will have to say, because we talked about this at the beginning of the year, I don't like that the Athletic kind of was right with their predictions about the Blues early this season. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, it's not great. I will grant you that.
Yeah.
But they were.
They predicted the firing and the way that it would be back and forth for the Blues all season.
Yeah. And here we are now, though, 5-1 in the last 6, and a win over Colorado tonight. You got to beat the Devils team, right?
You have
Not
to.
the New Jersey Devils, but the real Devil owns the team.
Yes, Stan Kroenke's team.
Yeah. So let's go Blues tonight. You'll hear it here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got our rush hour reset, including a new most cherished trophy in sports. That's next on 101 ESPN.
stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
Time for the Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. Blues and Avalanche tonight, 6 o'clock pregame, 7 o'clock faceoff here on 101 ESPN. The Cotton Bowl is also tonight. You'll see that on ESPN. By the way, we're going to talk to Howard Richards about the Tigers coming up at the bottom of the hour. But Mizzou and Ohio State. Ohio State, the line had gone to 3 last I saw. Ohio State was favored. And I am not sure. This is according to ESPN Bet. But Missouri's going to win the game.
Yeah, there you go. It seems like...
now OSU is a 5-point favorite. It was 2.5 earlier in the week.
5-point favorite.
Yeah.
Well, and I talked about this yesterday. Ohio State's only sold 2/3 of their ticket allotment. It seems like they don't really care about this bowl game.
No, their fans are spoiled and entitled, and if they aren't playing in a Final Four game, they aren't going. They're just going to take their ball and go home.
I feel like you should care. You should support your program. You should support your players for a season.
They're different.
And everything that they've done.
They're different. They're the Blue Bloods. Some of the Blue Bloods are really different, and they think that it's their God-given right to only play to beat Michigan, which they've lost to 3 times in a row. Sorry. And then to play in the Final Four. And if they don't get their way, then they don't participate, which is fine because Mizzou bought all of their extra tickets, and Mizzou fans are showing up in droves down in Arlington. And so my hope is that Mizzou fans will be so loud tonight that the Ohio State young quarterback won't be able to hear what's going on.
There you go. And I think this is huge for Mizzou because either way, a win is a win.
How much of a bummer would it be to not be able to enjoy a season unless your team was playing for a championship?
I think that's a huge bummer. I think you should always support your team no matter what, especially, I mean, that's in my opinion, it's still a big deal, and it's important to make it to a New Year's Six Bowl, regardless of if your expectations are championships every single season. It's not realistic to always make it there, so you should support your team no matter what.
I wonder how many Ohio State fans in Ohio have that attitude, but are also Bengals or Browns fans that have never won a Super Bowl.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't really make much sense. So, I don't know. Well, for the Browns, things have been at least going a little bit better for them.
Right. And they won last night, clinched a playoff spot with a 37-20 win over the New York Football Jets, who are... Is hapless a fair word for the football Jets? Guys, it's snowing outside. Just thought I'd... Okay.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is. It's kind of like a snow globe effect right now. Yeah, Browns win, and I'm really happy for those true blue Browns fans. I remember producing a game for them. It wasn't for them. It was a football Cardinal game in the 80s. It was like the first preseason game. It was 100 degrees in their old stadium, and it was packed. They had 90,000 people for the first preseason game. And their fans, first of all, they've been tortured by losing their team and then getting it back, but they have stuck with that team through and through. You never saw a mostly empty stadium in Cleveland, unless it was just the 0-16 horrible seasons. But they had a lot of 5-11s, and people would show up even at the end of the year.
Yeah, and that's why I asked earlier, are they one of the most tormented fan bases?
Oh, it's a factory of sadness.
NFL.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They and Detroit together are right there. I think who played? Did Chris Spielman play for both franchises? No, he played for Buffalo and Detroit. Who played for both teams?
Sean Rogers.
Sean Rogers. There you go. Big defensive tackle.
Immaculate grid.
Yeah.
Little tidbit there.
There you go. So congratulations to the Browns on clinching a playoff berth. If the playoffs started now, it'd be Cleveland at Kansas City. And we were talking about the over-under for that game earlier, 41.5. I think I might go under. With Spags' defense and Jim Schwartz's defense.
The Browns' defense has been top 5, I think, all season now, despite injuries that they've had on both sides of the ball. So the Browns' defense has been a huge factor in their success this year. And the Chiefs' defense deserves some credit, too.
They've been great.
Yes.
Yeah. Myles Garrett, did he get a sack last night? I didn't double check. I didn't see him get a sack, and I don't know if he got one. But if he didn't get a sack, that would be 6 games in a row without a sack for Myles Garrett, who arguably, he was talked about as an MVP candidate earlier, arguably is the best defensive player in the league.
He got there last night.
Okay, good. So he got to the Trevor Siemian. The greatest trophy in sports has been replaced. The Stanley Cup is no longer the greatest trophy in sports. Now the greatest trophy in sports is the Pop-Tarts Bowl trophy, which looks like a football with toaster slots in it. And last night, not only did Kansas State win the Pop-Tarts Bowl trophy, but they also got to partake of an edible mascot. A mascot walked into a toaster and came out toasted, a giant strawberry Pop-Tart, and the K-State players were able to partake.
Randy, it was the greatest celebration for a bowl game I think I've ever seen. The marketing was impeccable. The fact that you had the Pop-Tart strawberry guy who just celebrated his grand entrance, popping out of the toaster, as you mentioned, and then the beautiful ending to the story where he goes back into the toaster and he went out doing what he loved, which is being a Pop-Tart that was perfectly toasted for them to eat.
And that's important, perfectly toasted. For example, on my toaster, it's set at 1.5. Okay, and my thing goes up to like 6 or 7, but I set it at 1.5, and it's perfectly toasted at 1.5. Do you have a range on your toaster where you, like a number, where you put your Pop-Tart in and it comes out perfectly done?
I can't say that I have noticed it. I just make sure that I don't fully burn it. That is what I look for in my toaster.
By the way, I need to apologize for a grievous error yesterday here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN when people said, "What's the greatest Pop-Tart?" and I said s'mores. I completely forgot about brown sugar cinnamon.
That's your favorite?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, grievous error on my part, and I apologize to everybody who was tuned in and might have ruined their day.
I don't know. You probably should have sticked with the s'mores, Randy, because that one is a really, really good one.
It's close second.
If I want,
that brown sugar cinnamon is
If I just want something simple, I do wild berry, and then the hot fudge sundae is my other top favorite.
Okay, so here's the thing. Brooke Grimsley does something simple, and it's wild. It just doesn't seem to jibe right here.
No.
That's wildness. The Pistons lost their 28th in a row last night. That's an NBA record, tying the Philadelphia 76ers. And if you didn't hear our friend Robert Thomas earlier, I said, I asked him on our last segment, I said, hey, take us behind the curtain here with Drew Bannister. What kind of a coach is Drew, and what's he like for the players? And here's what Robert Thomas had to say.
Yeah, he's definitely different. I think he's a lot more calm, more calculated. He's not really a scream in your face kind of guy. He's just quiet, and everything he says he backs up with video and different points. So that's kind of the way he rolls, and it's been a breath of fresh air.
It happens in sports. Now, anybody who has watched Craig Berube red-faced and reading his lips behind the bench understands that, he has a tendency to be a yeller and screamer. I haven't seen that yet from Drew Bannister. So he does appear to be more calculated. And I can imagine if you're a Blues player and things are going bad, and you've heard Craig Berube night after night behind the bench, not yelling at you necessarily, but at the officials, it probably became somewhat of a stressful situation for the players. And so, not that I would ever defend the firing of Craig Berube. The fact of the matter is they couldn't trade 15 players. Craig Berube is going to go somewhere, and he's going to win, and he's going to win big. But Doug Armstrong saw it, that his team needed a change, and he recognized the personality of Drew Bannister and said, okay, this is what this particular group of players needs at this particular time.
Well, it was easy to tell from the season, right, that whatever message that Craig Berube had was not fully resonating with all the players. Now, I think a lot of the veteran guys like a Braden Shen is somebody who really rallies around him. And then you had Robert Bortuzzo before he was traded, another guy who would really rally around him. But it does really, when you hear that, it really points to what we've talked about a lot, where you're seeing this kind of generational shift with players and what they prefer coaching-wise. That's what it feels like, right?
And yes, and if he's going to tell you something, he's going to back it up with video. I took a lot out of that because I know the Blues video staff is great, and I'm sure Berube was great with the video, but here's the thing. Drew Bannister says, okay, here's what I want you to do. Here's why. And this is how it manifests itself on the ice on video. I think that's an approach you have to take now if you're a coach.
Yeah, and look, I hate it. Craig Berube was a fantastic coach here in St. Louis, and as you mentioned, Randy, wherever he goes, he will continue to win. And I think that his whole premise, even though maybe it was a harder coaching style that younger players didn't resonate with, the whole premise was to make you better. So some players understand that, some don't. And maybe that's where the shift is, where that message was not getting through to a certain group anymore. And that does happen. And you do have to look out for the full team aspect. But I do hate seeing Craig Berube leave. That's always going to be hard for me.
Me too. And the only young player, when he took over that team that was ready to win a Stanley Cup, the only young player that he had that he played was Robert Thomas. Fabry was around, but he didn't play Fabry that much. The other guys, Parayko was young, but he was ready.
Yes.
That team was ready, and they were veteran-laden. And this team, obviously, is not veteran-laden, and maybe Berube does need, and we talked about this, more of a veteran team that understands more of his old school approach.
Yes, and you do have to get the most out of these younger players right now because that's what's happening.
Yep. The Blues and the Avalanche pregame tonight at 6 here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, it is our last show of the year. And coming up, we've already given you our team of the year and our athlete of the year. Next up, our St. Louis story of the year on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. One thing you don't want to have is somebody who's going to do work on your house come out, give you an estimate, and then try to pressure you into buying something that you don't want to buy today. Maybe you want to get some more estimates. Maybe you want to think about it. And that's one of the great things about my friends at gutterpros.com. If you need new gutters, go to gutterpros.com, set up an appointment. They'll come out, take a look at your house. They'll provide you all of the information you need and an estimate. And then they're going to say, okay, here's what we can do for you. Here's the price. And they're going to say, yeah, I can give you a discount if you buy today. That's just not the way they work at gutterpros.com. And that's part of the reason that Gutter Pros has an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. They get 4.9 out of 5 stars on their reviews. And whether they're coming to your home or your work, they can provide you great work and great products. And even at this time of year, if we don't have ice and snow on the roof, they can do a great job for you. Gutter Pros is based downtown. They'll come anywhere within a 50-mile radius to give you that estimate, and I can tell you that they're going to do fantastic work. Check out the website, gutterpros.com, set up an appointment for the new year, and get new gutters for your home or your business from gutterpros.com. Even though we didn't wind up with playoffs in hockey or baseball, we did have a lot of great stories that came out of 2023, both on an individual level and on a team level. And Brooke, I think if we look around, I mean, look at what's happening tonight, the conclusion of 2023 for the Mizzou football program. It's a wonderful story that Eli Drinkwitz in his fourth season has led this renaissance of the Mizzou program that hasn't experienced this kind of success since Gary Pinkel was there. If we look at the first year of St. Louis City SC, who would have thought? But what a great story they wound up being, right? And I think legitimately we could have St. Louis City SC as the story of the year and everything that surrounded it. The great crowds, the stadium, the ownership, the playoff run, finishing first in the Western Conference. Everything about St. Louis City SC was a great story. But we have our stories of the year here, and these can be plus or minus stories. So, Brooke, why don't you go with what you have number one on your list?
Well, my story of the year is going to be back on September 18th. The Cardinals facing the Brewers after it felt like such a long time of Adam Wainwright trying to get to career win number 200. He was finally able to accomplish it. And it was the way that he accomplished it too, Randy. 7 scoreless against the Brewers. And it was Wilson Contreras, who was another big story of the season for the Cardinals, who was able to provide the lone run that they needed to be able to get the win and to help Waino secure career win number 200. I know it wasn't a magical season for the Cardinals, but it felt like at that moment, the magic that you're used to seeing, the devil magic, if you will, and it all paid off for that moment for Adam Wainwright to push through all the injuries, everything he battled through that entire year to be able to get that career win number 200. And this is Waino after that moment.
It's real good. It took me a little while to get there, but it made me savor it even more. You know, I'm so glad I got to do it here in front of our home crowd. So glad. These fans were unbelievable for me tonight. There was times where, you know what, just being honest, I was tired out there, and they got me through it. So, man, what a night, you know. I was glad I got to deliver for the guys tonight.
And before somebody starts sending me his ERA from this season, this season was not a good season at all. Adam Wainwright was far from the reason why the Cardinals struggled. Randy, we talked about it so much the entire year. There was a lot of things that went wrong that led to this 91-loss season. But in that moment, it was something that was so special for Adam Wainwright, nearly 20-year career, for him to be able to capture that 200th win, everything that he battled through. It was just such a special and magical moment.
And then, Brooke, we subsequently find out that he pitched with a partially torn labrum all year long, trying to help out the Cardinals and Cardinal fans in any way that he could. And then in his second to last start in Baltimore, he completely tears the capsule in his shoulder. And there's no way that a normal human being would have been able to pitch in that game where he won number 200. Not only did he pitch, he threw 7 scoreless. It is, you use the word magical. It was a magical performance. And I'm one of those people, I know there will, again, be people that will text in and say, well, if he was hurt, there's no way he should have been pitching. I'm one of those people that really appreciates players that want to win and are going to go to every length to compete so that my team can win. And that's what Adam Wainwright did.
That's what you want in your clubhouse. That is part of a championship team, is to have somebody like that, and he has been a part of that. And everything that he's done for the Cardinals organization, we also worked with him with Big League Impact. He has done so much for this community, so it was exciting to see it just work out in that way.
All due respect to a guy like Ryan Helsley, who has had his health issues as well, but I would love to have a guy like Ryan Helsley take on the personality, the competitive personality of Adam Wainwright.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, Randy, you've been around so many different championships with the Cardinals, with other teams, with the St. Louis Rams when they're here. Those guys are what you want in that room. They have that certain mentality, and it's those guys who help lead an organization for a long time, like Adam Wainwright did. You take a personality like that a million times over.
That's a great story. Great call. My story of the year, we said this could go plus or minus. The head coach of the first Stanley Cup champion in the first 52 years of the Blues, Craig Berube, gets off to a bad start and is fired. And it's not something that Doug Armstrong wanted to do, but he had to do it because of the way the team was performing. And whenever you fire a championship coach or manager, that's a big, big story. And for me, as big as Mizzou has been, and it's been a wonderful story, and as big as St. Louis City SC was, I'm going to go with Berube getting fired because I did not see that coming. I think you could have made a case for Mizzou being really good. Maybe not Cotton Bowl good, but you could have made a case for them being really good. Lutz didn't expect for City SC to be as good as they were. He didn't tell us he expected it, but ultimately they built a really good team and did something unprecedented. But in terms of just one story that we covered this year, Berube getting fired to me was the biggest story of the year here in St. Louis.
I 100% could see that because you can go either way with the story of the year. It could be good, it could be bad. And with the whole way that it played out with Craig Berube, the fact that we were talking about it during the break, it happened so late at night. And you felt like, while it was unexpected, it felt like it was kind of coming to this point. Because for whatever reason, the message was not translating on the ice for the Blues. And it felt like things were coming towards an end. But it still stings when you have Berube, the head coach that was able to bring a Stanley Cup here to St. Louis, get fired in that way. You just hate to see that every single time.
Right. And by the way, we shouldn't dismiss the success of the basketball program at Mizzou either. They had a great stretch run and wound up in the NCAA tournament. Matthew?
Yeah, if Gates had the start to this season that he had last year, and it was you had the whole calendar year, Gates might be up there. But for me, I think you just have to talk about the continuation of the story of Carolyn Kindle and what she started here, and then you have the inaugural game, you have the 5-game winning streak to set the record, you have the sellout streak, which was incredible. Then you have the playoff games. Obviously, doesn't go the way you wanted, but the fact that Carolyn Kindle had this idea, and they got together with all the moneyed families in St. Louis, and they put it together, and they said, here's our expansion fee. We don't need a vote from the city. We're just going to do this whole thing. And then they hit the ground running, and they had that much success the entire year. I think it's city, but I'm gonna center it more around what Carolyn Kindle was able to do with her vision. And also at the same time, by like June, we'd all gotten over it, and we're like, yeah, we're wearing pink, okay.
Yeah, right.
Like we had completely just ignored the part. Fine, it's city red, fine, but she got her pink in, and that worked. And that everyone's wearing pink now, and the city loves it. And that's really what I think Carolyn Kindle wanted.
Everything that she put in, Randy, I think you were around when Carolyn was at the very beginning stages of putting this together, the idea. And remember, she had to go
at Matthew Sticky Boys Club.
Yeah, but also going over to speak to the alderman.
Oh, yeah.
Were you around for those conversations?
I was not in there that day, but that was Dan. Yeah, Danny Mac.
Yeah, and the fact that she was over there and the way that she was willing to answer all the questions and really campaign, she cares so much about revitalizing downtown, and she's worked so hard on that and bringing soccer here to St. Louis. I mean, it's been such a great experience, and I know that was my team of the year yesterday, and so I agree with you. That is one of the biggest stories, and I'm excited to see them continue to grow.
And I'm glad that we were able to come up with these 1B stories and story number 2 and backups and things like that. The true 1A sports story of 2023 in St. Louis is Brooke Grimsley joining 101 ESPN in the opening drive.
That's the bigger story. No.
That's where it's all.
Like in about the same month, you had
not the air horn.
In about the same month, you had Mizzou's NCAA tournament run, obviously cut short, but still the fact that they got there was pretty impressive. You had City's first ever game, but again, between those two moments, Brooke Grimsley started on the opening drive, and that's what we need to be talking about, 100%.
No, we don't have to talk about that. But yes, I'm so excited to join. No, you guys are the big deal, and I'm so grateful. This has been one of the greatest years that I've had in probably, I would say, a while. This was a huge moment coming over here and joining. Randy, you were a huge part of it. As soon as I saw that there was an opportunity, I called you immediately, and I was like, hey, I'm hearing through the grapevine that there might be a job opportunity. I would love to come work with you, because as soon as I came here to St. Louis, just watching how you go about your business, one, listening to you, but how you go about your business, I gravitated towards you, and I've learned so much from you over the years, and now even more so being on the show with you.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun. We're having a great time.
Randy, if there's anybody in this studio who has many leather-bound books and whose office smells of rich mahogany, it's Brooke Grimsley.
Oh, yes.
No doubt in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice cigar.
You know, the library and the Beauty and the Beast. I imagine you have a room like that in your house.
Oh, of course. It's also doubles as our cigar room. So, have one of those this weekend.
That's our 2023 story of the year. Coming up, we're going to head down to Arlington and find out if Howard Richards is indeed awake. for our show. He's going to be doing Mizzou and Ohio State tonight. He wondered if, he said, do you really expect me to get up after a night out with my former teammates? So we're going to find out if he's awake next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. After a day off, the Blues are back in action, and now they have back-to-back games. First one tonight at Enterprise Center, 7 p.m. puck drop, means a 6 p.m. pregame show right here on 101 ESPN. And then after the long homestand, the Blues are off for an away game on a back-to-back. They travel to Pittsburgh to face off against the Penguins on Saturday evening. That is a 6 p.m. puck drop, which means a 5 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN. Also on ESPN tomorrow, pregame for the Peach Bowl starts at 10:30. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Mizzou playing in their biggest bowl game in years. Brooke Grimsley, Randy Carricker with you in St. Louis, and we head down to Dallas, where former Mizzou offensive lineman and current Mizzou radio analyst with Mike Kelly, Howard Richards, joins us on the opening drive. Howard, good morning, and thanks for waking up for us this morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, I want you to tell us about last night with your former teammates at Mizzou, and as you prepare for this game tonight. What was last night like in Dallas?
Well, last night was fun. There were a number of guys in town. Didn't see everybody, but the Eric Wright, Kurt Peterson were guys, Lamont Downer, that huddled up with us here at the hotel. And don't really get to see those guys that often. I probably see Eric more than the rest. But it was just a lot of fun to reconnect and tell stories and laugh and have a few adult beverages together. Seems like old times.
That sounds like a nice night. Well, we were having this discussion earlier, and Randy has a very strong opinion on this, but I want to get yours. What do you feel about with the Block M for the helmet that they're going with for the game today?
Are you serious? Is this even a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he wore the Block M. Let's preface this. You wore the Block M.
Okay, Randy's not. Randy's not on the side of it.
Well, what does Randy know? So here's the deal. And if I'm being completely honest here, there was a logo that the university used. It was never used for football, but it was used on letterhead across the university, especially during the time that I was being recruited and for some time afterwards, okay? It was a version of the Block M with like a fighting tiger exploding out of that M. That is my personal favorite. It has come back. You can still see it at places like Rally House on some of their apparel. So if I were choosing a logo, that's the only thing you'd see. But I do love the Block M because I wore it. And the version of the Block M that you see now and you will see tonight on the helmets began in 1978 under Warren Powers. Prior to then, 77, my freshman year, we wore the smaller M that Pete Woods, Leo Lewis, those guys wore in 76 when they beat Ohio State up at the shoe. But the larger version that you're going to see tonight is the one that began in 1978 under Powers.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the game against Ohio State. And Ohio State has some guys that have opted out or transferred out, but they still have a bunch of 3 and 4 and 5-star guys on their team. And Missouri has their team, except obviously for people like Rakestraw and Hopper who are hurt. What do you think of this game, Howard?
You know, from what I can tell, these players are locked in. The Missouri players are. This bowl game means a lot to the program. It means a lot to Missouri fans who have, I think, looked and witnessed at a football program that has underachieved, especially since Gary Pinkel left coaching. Lots of high hopes, but not quite gotten there. I think the best season the Tigers had was probably 2017 or 18 when Missouri played in the Texas Bowl against Texas when Drew Lock was quarterbacking. Mm-hmm. But since then, won 8 games, and they probably should have won that bowl game for a 9-game total wins for that season. Since then, as I said, I think we've underachieved, or the team has underachieved. This year has been so special to watch this group of players, and I'm happy for Drink and what he has built thus far. We kind of feel like we were talking last night during our show. I feel like this is the beginning of something special for Missouri football. We feel like this can be sustained, with the direction that NIL and the transfer portal, because I think with the portal, you can sort of, quote unquote, rebuild your program much more quickly than you can by only signing freshman players.
He really has utilized the portal well and has recruited well, which I think is what all has led to this point. We were talking about this earlier. As we know, the playoffs will expand next season. What do you think the expectation should be for Mizzou next year?
With the recruiting classes and the fact that younger players are playing much earlier, and the fact that you're getting guys from the portal to come in and have an immediate impact,
We saw what the impact of portal guys were from this season, from where they ended last year, and the guys that came in and contributed, along with the development of players like Luther Burden, of course, and Brady Cook. But you saw the contributions of Theo Weeks, Teron Hopper, Christian Williams, Jaden Jernigan. Those guys have made an immediate impact in the 2 years that they've been here. And I think this is what the expectation is. I think fans are looking at next year's schedule. Not my prediction, but this is the chatter that I've heard the last few days. People are looking at another 10-win season, if not more.
Yeah, I'm among that group. As we look for tonight's game, and here we are in a New Year's 6, and we think about stories. You are a guy that was a prolific college football player, a first-round draft choice in the NFL. What do you think of when you see a guy that came out of a Division II school, led the SEC in rushing, and now is playing in a New Year's 6 bowl game? What's it like for a football player to watch what Cody Schrader is doing?
The shredder? It's amazing. But here's what I have always said because of what I have witnessed over the years. If you can play this game, someone will find you. And that is the story of Cody Schrader. All it takes is one team, one coach, one program to believe in you. I can't recall the name of the guy that referred Schrader to drink, but I think a lot of people are happy that they had that conversation because he has been nothing short of spectacular. And it's really, he's a talented guy, but his work ethic, his attitude is exactly what you want, not only in a player that's going to walk onto your program, because those guys are hungrier. But that is infectious. It spreads throughout your program. It shows him as a 6-year experienced guy what it takes to get your opportunity. And when you get that opportunity, what you have to do to sustain it in order to not just get on the field, but stay on the field. He is taking complete advantage of his opportunity at Mizzou.
He really has. He's been one of the best stories this season. And Howard, I wanted to ask you, there's been so many great moments this year for Mizzou football. What was your favorite moment? It could be a game. It could be a moment like 4th and 17 or the fake punt. But what was your favorite moment?
I would say probably among those, which there are probably a number of favorites. Obviously, the walk-off field goal against Kansas State. I think that was a signature moment for this team that really gave these players the confidence to say, we can play with anyone. I don't care who's on the schedule. We can play for 4 quarters. We have an opportunity to win the game. When it counts, we can do so, which they couldn't do last year. They couldn't finish. They've learned to finish this season. But I think an important game in St. Louis at the Dome against Memphis. A good Memphis team that a lot of people weren't giving credit for. That team, I think they've done reasonably well this season. And it's turned out to be a much better opponent than people gave them credit for. The Florida game, getting over the Kentucky jinx, those were big games. And even in a loss against Georgia and a loss against LSU, Mizzou was right there in those games, if not for a few self-destructive mistakes. Missouri would be 12-0 this season.
Wow. It is amazing to put it in that perspective. Howard, a couple more things. Number one, I know that when you're doing a broadcast, you're watching the offensive line play. And one of the reasons that Missouri hasn't been what they were under Gary Pinkel is because of a failure to build great offensive line play on a consistent basis. What do you think of what goes into tonight's game in terms of what the Tigers will bring against Ohio State on the offensive line, against their defensive line, a very talented one?
I certainly believe that with the way this unit has, I think, rallied and improved every week. You had 2 brand new starters on the right side with Cameron Johnson, who transferred in from Houston with Brandon Jones, the offensive line coach, and along with Armand Membo, who we knew was going to be a good player as a freshman last year. He started 4 games and has been a model of consistency. Even though this team was pretty much a left-handed running team, running behind Javon Foster, the left tackle, who's all SEC left tackle, and Xavier Delgado at left guard, they have, I think, gelled. And let's give Connor Tollison credit. Of late, he has sort of eliminated some of those mental mistakes, the early snaps. But he's played much better in his second season as a starter. So I think big things are expected from him beyond this season. And he's the leader. You're the center. You're the guy that's making all the calls. So the expectations are great for him. He's still going to improve as well because you're playing against some hard-nosed, big, strong defensive tackles and nose guards. You're in the middle of all the attention. Plus, you got to make all the calls, the line calls. So you got to know exactly what the hell you're doing in that position. They have gelled as a unit. I'm pretty proud of the way that they have been able to run the football, create space and daylight for Cody Schrader to do what he does best.
All right, final thing for Howard Richards. You are, at least from my observation, pretty even-keel guy. You don't get too excited, but you obviously have an emotional investment in this program because you played for it. You like the Block M. I can tell you have an emotional investment. So when you are getting ready for a game like tonight, do you get goosebumps? Do you get super excited, maybe hyperventilate a little bit? Your eyes get misty ever?
Of course. Of course. I don't hyperventilate, but I do get excited about these opportunities. It's interesting. I don't go to the field very often before the game. I will be on the field tonight because Frank and I are going to do a hit at 5:20. But when I do walk the field before game and I see guys that are dressed out, I feel like somebody has misplaced my helmet and shoulder pads. I need to go and grab them. And if it's a grass field, I can smell the grass, and it just reminds me of my time playing at Mizzou. And I do get it as emotionally charged as I think the players do. I don't think it ever leaves your system. So if these guys feel the same way I do, then that is an exciting thing. They are as into this game as I am.
It will be a very exciting game tonight. And also thank you, Howard, for helping me convince Randy that the Block M is the best logo.
I have not been convinced yet.
Oh, come on.
I like that. I
will say this. Let me add this now. Now, it evolved from the white Block M in 78 to a gold Block M. I actually love the gold Block M as well. I think it matches up perfectly with what they do. But I'm happy with the white Block M, the original, which is what I think. I'm not sure if it's going to be the white one or the gold one tonight.
It's the gold one. I'm on board with the white one. Here's the thing. If Missouri caps look just like Michigan caps with the Block M. That's what bothers me is that I think we're taking a backseat to Michigan. When you see that oval tiger, everybody knows that's Mizzou. That's what Gary Pinkel wanted. He wanted to be known as not Missouri, but Mizzou. And I think that's what, to me, the oval tiger shows. I see a lot of times, especially as a colorblind guy, I see a guy... I see a Mizzou cap with the Block M. I see a Michigan cap with the Block M. Might as well be the same thing. I don't want to defer to Michigan.
Hey, let me settle this right now, Randy. What is the logo on Mizzou's helmets tonight? What will you see?
Oh, it's the Block M. Yeah.
And what does Michigan wear on their helmets?
They wear their Wolverines.
Very much. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you.
That's the Michigan brand. That's the Michigan brand. That Wolverine on their helmet. That's the only thing that Michigan football is identified with, or should be.
Well, that's true. Yeah, except I don't see Jim Harbaugh wearing stripes on his cap.
Well, they haven't. It's the Big Ten. They haven't figured this stuff out yet.
Hey, it's always good to talk to you. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for the time this morning. Have a great time tonight. You and Mike will be on the Big 550 here in St. Louis at 7 o'clock, and we can't wait to hear it, and we can't wait for Mizzou to come away with a Cotton Bowl victory.
Brooke, Randy, Happy New Year to you guys, too. Thank you.
Thank you, my man. See you. That is Howard Richards, one of the great Tigers, who still, even though he's a great Tiger, what did I say earlier? He's an older gentleman.
Oh, Randy, but then you have two younger generations saying that we like that classic look.
We like the letter. I get.
I also started giggling when he said the
Matthew.
gold too, because I knew that was the other thing that irked you a little bit.
Yeah, Matthew likes to, when he signs his name, doesn't block M, so I get it with him. I don't get it with you.
I just like the classic look. I think it looks great. It's clean. It's easy. It makes sense to me.
It's amazing. Did you even look at the caps that I sent you? They're identical.
I see it, Randy. I saw all of them, but still, I think Howard had a great point. I'm glad he was able to say that today.
He didn't convince me.
I could tell. Randy, you're pretty hard to convince.
I am. Coming up, New Year's resolutions for our local sports folk. That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Randy Carricker here in the studio with my Michigan fan friends.
Oh,
Good to
my
have
gosh.
you with us here on 101 ESPN.
No, you can't just come back saying that, Randy.
I just did.
I know, but if somebody hasn't been listening, they'll be like, wait a minute, what? Rock and Brooke are Michigan fans?
Uh-huh.
No, I am a fan of the Connor Stallion saga, but I am not a Michigan fan. We are just a fan of the classic Block M's.
The Michigan features.
Oh, no. It's beautiful. It's classic.
It's time for rock and roll. And oh, by the way, we still have time for you to get your ESPN merch until Sunday after partnering with St. Louis Shirt Company to offer a special 101 ESPN online merch store. We've got tons of stuff. Some of your favorite designs, including the Rivers and Brad Thompson jerseys, the Dunctionary T-shirt, and more. Time running out. Make sure you order your 101 ESPN swag by Sunday. This Sunday, December 31st, visit the 101 ESPN online merch store now at 101ESPN.com, powered by McBride Homes. Okay, resolutions for St. Louis teams or individuals for 2024. We can each give a couple, right? We can do that. I got one for Mo. Mo,
Okay.
get yourself a number one starter. Make that a resolution.
That was top of my list, too.
Be resolute in finding yourself a front of the rotation dude.
Add another front end starter.
Yep.
That's 100%. That was top of my resolution for them as well.
Yeah. And my other resolution is for Blues fans. Recognize that Doug Armstrong knows more about hockey and building a hockey team than you do.
Prove it.
Oh.
Prove it.
You said prove it. I do have a Blues one. And my New Year's resolution for the Blues will be to fix the power play. Guys, they have made some incremental, at least steps forward here recently, except for that game against the Dallas Stars. But they're still 31st in the league in power play percentage.
Ouch.
So that is my New Year's resolution for the Blues.
I have two related to that. My first one is for the Blues. The New Year's resolution is we will play Colton Parayko on a power play unit. The second resolution is for Colton Parayko, which is I'm a pretty high-paid defenseman. If I shatter somebody's ankle, I can just send him a nice gift.
Yeah,
shoot the
fruit
puck.
basket.
Like if you're Colton Parayko, you just got to think, shoot the puck. If I shatter somebody's ankles, I got 6.25 every year burning a hole in my pocket. I'll buy him something nice. My bad, guys. I was doing what I was supposed to do. Shoot the puck.
Hey, here's the thing.
Sorry,
and
Randy,
if you
can
do
you
it once, then a lot of the other players will start to move out of the way because they know that it's coming.
Agreed. I like that idea a lot. That's a good resolution.
There you go. I think another resolution would be I'm going to put this for Mizzou basketball and SLU basketball. Ooh. Recruit more locally, retaining that local talent here. Because I think it's something that we've seen with both teams this season, where, especially with Mizzou hoops, the transfer portal worked out for them last year. This year, it's kind of been hampering them. So recruiting more locally. They don't have anybody from St. Louis, right?
Nobody.
Or the St. Louis area.
No. And SLU, to their credit, does, but SLU needs to get a star. When you lose Yuri Collins, they didn't come into this season with anybody who I thought was capable of being a star, and they don't have one on their team now.
I got the resolution for the Billikens. The resolution is we will find a way to pay a player who has not yet appeared in Billiken Blue, which is when Yuri Collins was going to make the jump, there was money. When Gibson Jimerson, when everyone thought it was a fait accompli, like, hey, you're going to go to a bigger program and just be their sharpshooter off the bench, you're going to do that. Gibson Jimerson's still at St. Louis. There's money there, but it seems to be for guys who have already proven something in a Billikens jersey. You're going to have to change the mindset there. Go get somebody who hasn't played yet.
And I want to give one to City SC because they've already started. Take the next step. And with the moves they've made during the offseason, they're prepared to take the next step. And it's kind of unfair to say, okay, you didn't do enough in your first year when you won the Western Conference. But I think a lot of people, and I loved the journey, but I think a lot of people expected and hoped that they would do more at playoff time. Well, they're building now a team that is prepared to not only succeed during the regular season, but to succeed once playoff time comes too.
Yeah, City SC is on my nice list. They've done so much this year. I know that you didn't like to see that early exit, obviously, in the playoffs, but everything that they had going on this year, one of the most exciting stories, and seeing so many City SC fans everywhere. They've done such a good job of immersing themselves within the community and really continuing to grow soccer here.
And we have a New Year's resolution as Dan McLaughlin joins the opening drive at the outset of 2024 to bring you more great sports talk radio throughout the course of the year. And we hope that everybody that's tuned in and everybody that isn't has a great 2024. And by the way, tell your friends that they should tune in.
Yes, they should. And You can also take one of the New Year's traditions that I mentioned earlier. Randy, are you going to do at least one of them?
Yeah, suitcases around the block.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going to do I've got the grapes already. I'm going to just do the grapes thing.
So you have to do it as soon as the clock hits midnight. Then
Okay.
within that minute, you're supposed to eat the grapes.
Within a
12 of
minute.
them.
I wonder if I can fit 12 in my mouth at once.
I don't want you to choke, Randy.
Okay.
So maybe one at a time, just quickly.
I have a resolution for this show.
Yes.
Never, ever, ever let Yoho die.
Oh, Yoho's here for the duration.
Yes.
Never let it die. That's my resolution for this year.
I know
again.
Danny Mac is he's not going to be on board with it for a while, but we'll bring him aboard.
We will.
Yo-ho. Yeah. It's not going anywhere.
No, it's staying around for
good thing.
2024.
Yep. Great job and a great year for our producer. And he became audio and video engineer, Matthew Rocchio.
It was a pleasure, Randy.
Big part of 2023.
2 years down.
Yeah.
I made it.
Well done.
One to go.
You set a record.
You had to say one to go.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm just thinking about, I think we had 6 producers before you in something like 2 years. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Brooke, was this fun?
It was.
a fun year?
Yes, and I can't wait to see you guys next week. And I'll say, oh, wow, I haven't seen you guys since last year.
Yeah, right. That'll be fun.
We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
We've got a producer show coming up. Matthew is here. I see Jackson Burkett out in the hallway. Bradford Bruns is around.
They're just lurking out in the hallway.
They are.
They're ready
there's
to go.
Andrew Marsh. So it's going to be fun. And we look forward to hearing from them. We thank you very much for being a part of our show during 2023, for tuning in and texting in and participating as much as you do. And we look forward to much more fun and frivolity in 2024. For all of us, until 2024, have a happy New Year, St. Louis.
And now for something completely different.